I was thinking about the North Pole police. They walk in. There's a bunch of little guys.
Hello, Matt Cox. It is so good to see you again. I feel like it's been months, but it's only been a few weeks.
I know. I can hear the comments now.
Your fans.
Yeah.
They love us.
Yes, they do.
My God, I've never gotten so much positive feedback in my life than looking at the comments on your YouTube page. It's so gratifying. It makes up for the fact that you don't pay me anything to do this, and I'm making you rich, and we're putting up big numbers, and the fans like us together. This is gratifying.
I know. It's even better because I don't pay you, and it irritates you so much.
It doesn't irritate me.
It's that much more. It gives me that much more of a tickle in my tummy.
I know. The idea of defrauding someone creates happiness in you. But I love your fans. They are the nicest people in the world. And so I mean, every now and then you get a lunatic.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to pull some of the lunatic ones. I'm gonna start sending those to you instead of the good ones.
Look at the comment again. I mean, those are the ones that stick with you, right? Those are the ones I'm laying in bed. The guy is like
what did I do to that guy?
This guy
Why
sucks.
does he hate me?
Yeah, yeah, right. But again, I'm just tickled pink with how nice your fans are and how much they like what we do here when I come out.
Good times.
It
Good
is. So here's the deal. I got a dozen stories for you today. A dozen crime stories ripped from the pages of federal law enforcement, most FBI. A couple of them I worked. Most are just other people's work. I don't want to take credit for anyone else's work. And we're going to play a game that we've played before. And I know there's people out there who don't know the format of this, so I want to kind of lay it all out. That I'm going to tell you the crime story. I'm going to tell you what the bad guy did, how the bad guy was caught, if I know, how the investigation unfolded, how the litigation unfolded. And your job, Matt Cox, is to tell me how much time that person got in prison. Okay. Based on all the facts we know. I'm happy to answer any questions along the way. And if you were within 20% of the actual sentence, then you get a point. Colby is going to be keeping track of this. A passing score for young Matt Cox is 50%.
Okay.
Which you have achieved before.
Yeah.
Like by the skin of your teeth. Other times you failed miserably.
I'd also like to say that even though you're giving me the information, there's some information that you don't have. Like sometimes you don't know if they cooperated. So some of these things, some of the offset, like I can't, I'm not getting that information because if some guy could get 5 years and I'm saying 5 years and he ends up getting 2 years, sometimes there's that variance could be because he cooperated against 3 other people.
Well, when you place a bet on football, do you know whether the guy had a Wendy's chili right before the game? You don't know. There's a lot of variables in gamesmanship.
I'm saying you're an artist is only as good as the medium he's working in.
I'm giving you all the information
that you have.
In the case that I worked, I'll tell you what color underwear the guy was wearing. Right? I just don't always have the information because I'm drawing from the public record here,
right.
And conversations sometimes with my friends who investigated the cases, but I'm not always thinking like, what's Matt going to want to know about this thing? And honestly, if I gave you everything, there would be no gamesmanship to it because then you could just plug in the sentencing guidelines and it will spit out a sentence.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the first story.
Okay.
Let me start with an open-ended question. Have you ever spent much time in a landfill where people, you throw something away and...
No, I've driven by many of them.
Yeah. I've spent way too much time at landfills.
Oh, really? Like digging through trash to try and recover evidence?
Dead bodies.
No. Oh.
Yeah. I've had 3 different investigations where a person is missing. One was 2 sisters who ended up coming up missing. They were kidnapped at a bus stop, and we had no idea where they were. We still don't. It's an unsolved case. And we thought it was possible because it was garbage day that the girls were literally thrown in the trash after being offed. And so we spent a week in like the blazing sun digging through the garbage at the landfill. Another case, a hairdresser came up missing, and so we went to a landfill in Georgia where all of the garbage in Florida goes to, and spent, I think, 10 days digging through that garbage. It's an amazing experience being in a landfill because it's, as far as the eye can see, it's a gigantic mountain of trash, but it's done like lasagna, where it's layer of soil,
right,
layer of trash, layer of soil, and waste management or whoever the company is that would manage it. Does sort of an amazing job kind of building this thing up into the sky. That's all the garbage. And what they do when we're doing a landfill search, and this is probably more information than we need to know for this story, is that they clear out a kind of a flat bit of soil, call it about the size of a pro football field, and or amateur football field, any football field, and they begin and they can identify where the trash from this particular neighborhood on this particular date came from, like what quartile of the giant lasagna of the mountain. And then they moved the trash there a little bit at a time, spread it out in kind of a field. And then you get about 100 agents standing shoulder to shoulder, myself included, with hose, kind of looking through the trash, looking for the body of the victim. And then my third one, we actually successfully found the lady, her remains. She was murdered here in Florida by a contractor. It's a story I'll tell some other time.
And this was in the landfill. You found her. Oh, okay.
Yeah. When we were looking for her, we had good information that he had dumped her there.
This is not a fun story. This is not nearly as fun of a story as I was hoping. I didn't even know you'd ever worked on any murder investigations.
Again, I'm not the case agent. I'm unskilled. I'm unskilled labor. They need bodies, right? They need any dumb body who can just have enough stamina to kind of dig through trash with a hoe under the blazing sun or the freezing air, depending on what time of year it is, for 14 hours a day looking for the body of a victim. And we found it, and the guy's serving life in prison, bottom line. That's a different story. But I've spent time in landfills. And there was a case that I did investigate involving a landfill on the Big Island of Hawaii.
Okay.
The landfill was I think it was a municipal landfill, but it was run by the company Waste Management, who runs most of the big landfills in the U.S., and they're very good at what they do. And they had a woman named Donna, who was the business manager at the landfill. Okay. And the Big Island had real sensitivities about this landfill, because what they don't want, because the winds on the Big Island, the Hawaiian trade winds, can be intense. And so they would employ litter pickers to kind of work the perimeter of the landfill, picking up and stopping the garbage that would just naturally blow as the wind was coming, your Twinkies containers and things like that, and bags, a lot of plastic bags, and try to pick those up and contain them within the actual landfill so that it's not spreading all over the Big Island. And these litter pickers were actually employed by a temp agency, like a temp labor agency.
Right.
This is like minimum wage work, not like, not a job.
This is not skilled labor.
It's important labor, but not skilled labor, right? And so the landfill had these hourly workers from a temp agency that would pick up the trash being blown out of the perimeter of the dump, and a small army of people. And so Donna, who was working for Waste Management, she was the one who would kind of schedule the temps from the local temp agency on the Big Island and make sure that they're there every single day to kind of pick up the trash so it doesn't blow off the perimeter and make the Big Island one big dump. But what no one knew is that she went to the temp agency at the very beginning and said, listen, when you invoice us, I want you to make those invoices larger than they would be otherwise, and you're going to pay me a kickback for giving you this contract.
Okay. For more money.
For more money, right? So Donna she's awarding the contract to the temp agency, scheduling the temps, but the temp agency would bill Waste Management, who would then pay that bill. But what Donna's saying is, I want you to gross that bill up.
Yeah, pad it.
Pad that bill. And the difference between the actual money that you're billing for the actual labor of these temps and the money that you're getting paid goes to me, Donna.
Yeah, it's a kickback scheme.
A kickback scheme, exactly. This kickback scheme continued for 4 years until she goes on vacation. Donna goes on vacation, and there was a day where no temps showed up to work. It's the risk you take. Mm-hmm. And Waste Management had one of their managers there above Donna from their headquarters in Houston, who was out there, who was noticing that the garbage is blowing everywhere. Donna's gone. It was sort of chaos. It was a bad day. Like, where are the temps? Mm-hmm. And so Donna comes back. They're dealing with it. That manager then is paying the invoice, is reviewing the invoice from the temp agency, and remembered that day from a couple of weeks ago, and saw that day there was supposed to be 200 hours of temporary labor. And he's like, well, there were no temps on the job that day. None of them showed up to work.
Right.
And that's how she got caught.
Just a fluke.
Just a fluke. She went on vacation, which embezzlers should never, ever do.
Yeah. That happens. This is a common theme. One day they miss 2 days or they miss a week, and somebody steps in the position.
Exactly. And because she didn't have time to cover it up and get temps there that day, and the temp agency is going to be billing for hours that didn't exist because they need to pay Donna.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what launched the internal investigation and eventually the referral that landed on my desk.
Some damn do-gooder got her.
Mm-hmm. So we quantified the embezzlement which continued for 4 years. And, we go to the temp agency. I go to the temp agency and I interview the lady. Name's Sherry. Nice lady.
She breaks immediately.
And she's like, well, I didn't know. Donna's telling me this is how it worked. I need the contract, single mother, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so, could I prove that she knew this was an illegal kickback scheme? Maybe, maybe not. Her cooperation was more valuable as a witness.
Right.
Because the temp agency lady is not taking a taste for herself other than what's already baked into the amount that she's billing out for the actual temp workers.
And she does have an argument there of this is how it works. No, you bill us this much, you put this much on top of it.
Right. I mean, she has one client,
Yeah.
Waste Management. If this is how Waste Management does business, it's kind of none of her business. She's going to pay what the client wants her to pay. It doesn't cost her any extra money to gross it up, and Donna said that's how she gets paid.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have a great case against Sherry, but I really needed Sherry's cooperation, and she was able to give me basically a nice schedule. Show me how much was actually worked, how much was gross. I mean, she created a legitimate set of invoices and then the illegitimate set of invoices that actually went to Waste Management.
Oh, okay. I feel like she knew more than. I feel like that wasn't a strong argument on her part. But okay.
But again, I would need to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And
you need her help.
I need her help.
Right.
So Sherry
She skates.
She skates.
Yeah.
She skates. Donna doesn't skate. We computed Donna was caught 4 years, $862,000.
That's nice. That's a nice chunk of change, right?
Waste Management will have none of this. They fire her.
Yeah.
Right. And Donna.
No, Waste Management has never been involved in anything nefarious. There's never been any mobsters that owned waste management companies.
Waste Management is a publicly traded American corporation based in Texas. I'm not here to disparage them. Their industry, though, has a history of issues.
Right.
But the actual publicly traded corporation that could sue you out of existence, lovely people.
So, all right, there's no Tony Sopranos on the board. That's where we're making that clear.
It's a thing of the past.
Yeah,
It's a thing of the past. This is a publicly traded, perfectly legitimate corporation that was defrauded out of $862,000 by a monster.
Donna, probably a grandmother. Okay.
I did interview people about Donna, and they said that she was kind of a bully.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
they said, everyone talked about how physically large she was, and I go, "You mean fat?" And they go, "No, large, like a linebacker." And I go, "Really?" And I looked at pictures of her. She looked like a normal, 50-year-old lady or whatever. Yeah. And it was weird.
She had a presence. She must have had a presence.
She
about
was, which kind of makes sense in that industry. I mean, that industry is a kind of, a rough and tumble industry.
Yeah.
And
some people have presence. Like people, when I walk in the room, people say I have a presence. They think I'm like tall and good looking and
well,
anyway,
1 out of 2 ain't bad. Donna moves to Las Vegas. I hop on a plane to Las Vegas.
Why did she move to Las Vegas? She knows there's something going on. She's
Well, I think Donna, her employment
they fired
options
her?
were limited. Yeah, they fired her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before you ever talked to her.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And they don't need her presence there. And financial crime work, it may have cost me the ability to kind of get the jump on her.
Right.
But it's more important to Waste Management to have a reliable employee there at the landfill that they can count on who's not involved in an embezzlement scheme. I get it. And so Donna moves to Las Vegas, and I fly to Las Vegas, which a lot of people from Hawaii like going to Las Vegas on vacation. In fact, everyone, the locals, as they call them, which is sort of the euphemism for people, the kind of Asians and Hawaiians who live in Hawaii, they like going to Las Vegas on vacation. I mean, they live in paradise, and they like gambling, honestly. But Donna was from Hawaii, but normal white lady. But she moved to Vegas. A lot of people moved to Vegas.
Okay.
And I don't know what her rationale was. I go to Donna's house, knock on the door. She's not there. A roommate or a friend or someone who's living with her answers the door. So now it's like I got, is Donna here? No. Like, who are you? And so I give my business card. I say, my name's Tom Simon. I'm an FBI special agent. Just need to talk to her about some stuff. And but my card says I'm from Hawaii. And and I go, I came in from Hawaii. I'm staying here in Vegas for a couple days. I'd really like to get together and talk with her. I'm not here to arrest her. I just want to talk to her. Could you have her give me a call? And so then I'm just sort of driving around Vegas thinking, what's going to happen? Is she going to call me? Is she going to take off? What's she going to do? And then I get a call from a criminal defense attorney. Yeah. And so I never really got my crack at interrogating her and getting the confession. The criminal defense attorney was way over his skis. He was literally like a drunk driving attorney from a billboard.
Right.
And so what do you want with her? Well, there was an issue. She got fired in Hawaii. I just wanted to understand her side of the story about what happened. And I go, and I'd be happy to interview her, in your presence. And he's like, let me get back to you. And then that was
never hear
it.
from him
Yes,
again.
and so I put my tail between my legs, flew back to Hawaii, took her to the grand jury, indicted her, and she came in and pled guilty.
Okay.
And no criminal history. During her sentencing, she made a long, kind of eloquent story about how she had a very rough upbringing herself with some rough men in her life who treated her poorly. And I think there's probably some truth to that. Mm-hmm. She came off as a sympathetic figure, not a bully, at her sentencing, as she's kind of talking about how sorry she is and kind of blaming this theft on financial hardships, about being a single mother, and and kind of the damage that the men had done to her in her life. And Waste Management, arguably, is a big corporation, not the most sympathetic victim. Mm-hmm. And she pled guilty. But the loss is substantial, right? We're talking $862,000 over 4 years. And so I ask you, Matt Cox, how much time did she get in prison?
This whole time, this 31 months is jumping in my head, but I'm going to say 24 months.
24 months is your guess?
I'm going to go 24 months.
Talk me through your thought process. I always like to
There's
get in your
nobody to
mind.
cooperate against. Actually, it might be 30.
I'm not talking you out of 24.
No.
I just want to know. I want to get inside the mind of Matt Cox.
I'm thinking to myself that, I don't know, based on some of these other. First of all, she has no criminal history.
Right.
I don't think that a bunch of people got up there and talked about how she stole their retirement funds.
Right.
Right. So it seems.
I don't think there was a victim impact statement. There was no one from. I think corporate may have sent someone out, but they weren't like crying.
Yeah. So it's not like she's got 40 victims or 80 victims. She's got one victim. It's probably she got hit with some enhancement, sophisticated means, stuff like that.
More than minimum planning.
Yeah, I think, but in the end, I don't think it's that complicated of a scam, and I don't think she harmed anybody, and I don't know what the restitution, if she paid restitution, she's probably blowing the money.
Yeah.
So
I don't think she was living extravagantly. Life in Hawaii is very expensive, so
she's got a roommate.
enhancing your salary for about $225,000. This can be a nicer
year.
house.
Yeah.
You get your car payment made, but in Hawaii that gets chewed up like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I just don't think you can't imagine giving her probation. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't give her 5 years, so I'm thinking somewhere in between, 2 years.
All right, 2 years, 24 months is your guess?
Yeah, 24 months.
Okay. The correct answer is 33 months.
I was
Which is no. I believe you're right. I believe you're in the. I think the
6 months variance, 33 minus 6.6 is
Colby, do the math. What is-
26 months.
80% of 33 is 26 months.
33 times 0.8 is 26.4.
So Matt was right outside the margin of error.
So I'm okay.
You're wrong.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you for adding the sound effect.
Oh, I was so close too. If I had stuck with 30 months to 31 months,
Yep.
I need to go with my gut. That's the problem.
Did you take the SAT?
Yeah.
They tell you to trust your first instincts when you take the
Yeah.
SAT.
I think I got like a 1380 or something. I got to take it untimed.
Oh, because you went to a school for short bus kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most people get in trouble because they lose focus at the wrong time. That's why I like to stay sharp. And Cashapp makes that easy. It's a whole body meal packed with good stuff that keeps me fueled and ready for anything. They just dropped a brand new flavor, and it's made with real freeze-dried strawberries. The first time I tried it, it honestly tasted like a supercharged strawberry milkshake, but without the junk. Just clean, plant-based nutrition. Cashapp has 85 plus superfoods and nutrients, plus 25 grams of plant-based protein. No soy, no gluten, no preservatives, just fuel your body actually needs. I drink it for breakfast or lunch when I'm in a hurry, and it helps keep me full and focused for the interviews. You've never tasted strawberries like this. Go to Kachava.com and use code ITC for 15% off your next order. That's KACHAVA.com, code ITC for 15% off. Yes. And I was able to take breaks. I was able to go out and look up words in a dictionary in my car.
You took the short bus. You didn't go to college?
Yeah, I got a 4-year degree. Fine arts.
Where'd you go?
USF.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Tampa.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The Bulls.
Go Bulls. You ever been to Alaska?
No.
Does the idea of an Alaskan cruise interest you?
Not at all.
Tell me about that, because I used to have the same answer.
Because I feel like it's freezing cold, and it's very cold, and it's icy. I mean, like if somebody gave it to me, I'd go. I'm sure I'd go. But if I was going to spend money, I think I'd rather go on like a European cruise or something. Why is it nice? Have you been on one?
No, I haven't. But I'm starting to think about it, which is telling me that maybe I'm reaching a certain age, because the crowd at an Alaskan cruise is a little older than the spring break crowd going to Freeport.
Then what is it? What's the name of the Carnival cruise?
Yeah, right. exactly. And but I think I look.
I've been on a European cruise.
Like one of those riverboat ones? Or,
no. It was a huge cruise ship. It went to like the island of like Crete. It went to went all over the place. Honestly, it was Venice. It was like Venice, Greece, Italy. Like we hit all the ports in the Mediterranean Sea. Crete, a couple different things. It was awesome. And they're Europeans. They're very low key.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm kind of making peace with the idea of doing some vacations to cooler weather places. We live here in Florida. We have great weather. It's hot. When I lived in Chicago, the idea of going anywhere other than a hot weather place was unthinkable. But now that I have good weather year round, maybe the idea of seeing the world on a European vacation. I just took a vacation to Iceland. We talked about that on a previous episode. And I'm kind of making peace in my mind with the Alaska cruise, because the pictures I'm seeing on social media and friends who go on it, it looks amazing and kind of majestic and sort of a weird, interesting angle of America. And I don't know. And the older crowd, now that I'm getting older, probably wouldn't bother me as much as if I was 25, like having to have dinner with a bunch of 50, 60-year-olds.
I'd rather have dinner with older people.
That's sort of my thing now, right? Like it's not going to be the hot bikini chicks necessarily, but whatever. I'll bring my own date.
Yeah. And, maybe your wife.
Yeah, if she's lucky.
It's funny that when you start talking to these 25-year-olds now, it's like half the time I'm thinking like, was I this stupid?
Well, there's
was
that.
I this?
Yeah.
Like, was I this much of a bonehead? Like, I can't believe that.
And the other, I think, nice thing about the Alaskan cruise is probably not going to get a lot of little kids.
Oh yeah,
right. Because again, I'm a parent, but I've sort of done my time around little kids, and a time may come that my kids start pounding out kids, and so I'll have to be a grandparent. But I have this nice window of time right now where I really don't need to subject myself to screaming 5-year-olds.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other night. And he was talking about I guess they've got like a little 3-year-old or something, and he was like, wow, he's like, man, we finally got a good babysitter, and we actually were able to get away for like a day, and he's like, and honestly, I haven't been away from him in like 3 years. He said, and to get away for a day, he's like, it was nice because there's just constant, you're constantly on them.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, and I told him, and I said, have you considered crating? And that. And I thought Jess just looked at me and started laughing. I was like, oh yeah, I was joking. Yeah, that's a joke. But I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, having kids is
you put the little gate up, and you just make sure there's nothing they can swallow, and you leave. I mean, sometimes you got to free range.
Yeah, I could tell you some nightmare stories of parents who did that. That's another episode from the day. There's a town in Alaska. The name of the town is called North Pole.
Nice.
Isn't that clever?
Yeah.
There's literally, you go to North Pole, Alaska, and then it has its own zip code. And in the main street in North Pole, Alaska, Santa Claus Lane.
Wait, those they are
marketers.
They're good. They're good. What does the town look like?
It's lovely.
Is it?
I've never been there, but I've been looking at it online based on the story, and it's like a theme party. It's like those towns that have Oktoberfest, and it looks like you might be in Germany. This town looks like Santa Claus's hometown.
Nice.
And there's a restaurant there. Several restaurants there, but there's one particular restaurant, and don't know the name, don't know which one, but we'll call it the North Pole Restaurant.
Okay.
For the sake of this conversation, to protect the identity of the victim. And the owner of the restaurant took his eye off the ball. He wasn't keeping an eye on his own bank account. And then he finally looks at the bank account after about a week and notices that for the last 6 days, none of his credit card receipts, someone rings it up on the credit card, was being deposited into his business bank account.
Okay.
Okay. And because of this, he's missing $128,000 in sales.
Jeez.
You ever heard of a business email compromise?
I mean, no, but I'm
You
gonna
can figure out what it is.
I can
So what
assume.
happens is this: somebody clicks on the wrong thing or whatever, and your email gets hacked. And then what the bad guys do is they don't take over your email, but they begin reading all of your emails to look for information about you that they can exploit regarding your financial records.
Right.
And so he suffered a business email compromise. It is a huge fraud right now. The FBI is getting absolutely swamped with business email compromises.
How do you get access to somebody's email?
Phishing, maybe?
Yeah, phishing. It's complete. Like someone sends a message to you saying like your Gmail has been compromised. Please click on this link to reset your password.
Yeah.
And you click on that link, enter in your old password, enter your new password, but you're not truly on the Gmail site. You're on a site that looks identically like it.
Right.
That's basically how someone in your company has messed up.
Yeah.
But what happened is, so he had a business email compromise. He didn't know it at the time. But then, so he calls the police. Oh, no, he calls his bank first thing. And like, what's going on? Why aren't my credit card deposits going into your bank? He goes, because
They don't know.
the
right?
merchant bank, well, they know. They said, well, a week ago,
You switched it.
you switched it, so the money's not being deposited into this bank account. It's being deposited into a bank account in Chicago under a business name called Eros, Eros LLC. He's all,
Sounds legit.
I ain't Eros,
Right.
and where's my money? And the bank is like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, we didn't do it, you did it. And he's like, I didn't do it. And so he calls the cops and says, someone in Chicago has rerouted my money into their bank account from my sales here. And then you know what the North Pole Police said?
I was thinking about the North Pole Police with their red caps.
Ho, ho, ho,
they walk in. There's a bunch of little guys walk in.
Making toys.
They got the shoes with the curl on them and the bell, and they walk in. I feel like these guys might not be prepared.
Well, the North Pole Police, they what the hell do they know about Chicago?
Right.
They said this is clearly interstate and sort of beyond the scope of what we can like investigate properly here in the North Pole. I'm sure the cops there are fantastic, and so they contact.
Sounds like a lower 48 problem.
They
to
contact
me.
the FBI.
Right.
And so the FBI Anchorage office begins working with my former colleagues, where I was an agent for 13 years at the FBI office in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
To get to the bottom of this thing. And they figured out that the Eros bank account to which the money was going in was established by a woman named Amber Davila. And then they do some further investigating and find out that the money that's getting banged out of this account as it's being deposited is actually winding up in the bank account in the control of Amber's baby daddy, Jacob Centeno. Grab Amber, squeeze her a little bit. She says, I don't know what to tell you. My baby daddy had me open up the bank account. I knew what he was up to. But Jacob's really the brains behind this operation. Video from the bank shows them going into the bank together and literally withdrawing the $128,000 in drips and drabs every day as it was coming in, which was the credit card receipts from the restaurant in the North Pole.
Right.
So you get the fraud?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course,
Yeah.
Of course.
So
I'm wondering how he got a hold of the information and how did he buy it on the web or something? Or
I think he.
Or is he
no,
involved?
he did the business email compromise, the phishing thing. He's good at that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my understanding from basic the court records.
He's got part of the scam down. It's just the part where it doesn't lead directly back to you.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's weak in that area.
He trusted his baby mama. What's not to trust?
Well, but she was going to hold strong and go and do prison time for him.
This is true love, right? You trust the person you love, Matt Cox. You're not romantic.
No.
Jacob's the mastermind. Amber's clearly hip deep in this thing. They both get arrested. They both provide full confessions that are consistent with each other's stories. Okay.
Does he have a huge criminal record? Sorry.
Don't know. My guess is that this is not his first rodeo with crime.
Right.
So I actually did not run his rap sheet, and this wasn't my case. I don't want to take credit for someone else's investigation. There's some business lessons here for the restaurant. You know, bottom line is, if you own a small business and you can't take your eye off the ball, you got to take a look at your bank statement every damn day.
Yeah.
And just make sure online and make sure that your deposits are actually going into the bank account. Right. This could have been caught on day one.
Right.
Right. But as far as what the sentences are, you got a twofer on this one for you to solve. You got Amber, who facilitated this fraud, opened up the bank account, was walking into the bank with her baby daddy. Then you got Jacob, who was clearly the brains behind the operation and kind of orchestrated the whole thing and confessed. And we got $128,000 losses that they never got back. And poor restaurant in the North Pole sitting there with their pockets
I
open.
understand how he doesn't get money. I don't understand how the bank wouldn't. You know, it's an electronic funds transfer. He should be covered because the bank transferred the funds, and he found it within 30 days, and he reported it. And
I promise you that when you open up a merchant account,
okay, the merchant account is the issue. So it's not like a personal bank account where you're protected.
Right. He's opening up a merchant bank account whose sole job is to connect you to the system that allows people to swipe their credit card. And that merchant account is going to put that money wherever you tell it to.
But he didn't tell it to put it anywhere. He's not the one who transferred it.
If the merchant bank had been hacked, then they would clearly owe him the money. He needs to be more careful with what he clicks on in his email, would be the merchant bank's position. The merchant bank, I promise you, in their merchant agreement, it has a big old FU clause in it saying, hey, dummy, if because of your negligence, someone out there changes the where this thing's going, not my problem. These banks are set up to make money themselves, not to provide customer service to the North Pole restaurant.
Okay, I thought that he contacted, let's say he's with Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
I thought he contacted Wells Fargo and said, the money's not coming into my bank account anymore. And then Wells Fargo said, no, we we're not getting the money anymore. It's being transferred somewhere else now. That
may be true, but your merchant bank accepting your credit card deposits may or may not be where your checking account is.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So you're saying he contacted the merchant bank account and said, "Where's my checks?" And they said, "Oh, you contacted us."
Yes.
So I don't see them having the same He probably doesn't have the same protection with a merchant bank account as he does with a local like Wells Fargo. Because look, on Wells Fargo, if you contact Wells Fargo and they allowed someone to take money out of your account, they have to put the money back.
Right.
Or same thing with a credit card. You contact your credit card company. You say, "Hey, you just ran up $40,000 in jewelry. I wasn't in New York, and that wasn't me." They immediately put the money back on your account. Because you're covered by, I think it's called the Electronic Funds Transfer Act.
Right,
but this is something different.
But in your example, Wells Fargo could be providing two different services. They could be providing the merchant kind of hookup to the system, and they may be saying, "Oh, and we'd love for you to bank here and have your money deposited into your bank account at Wells Fargo."
So one you're covered, you're covered, one you're not. Probably, if that was the case.
I take credit cards for my private investigative agency.
Right.
My credit card processor is Clover. Clover is going to deposit my deposits into any bank account I tell them to.
You tell them to.
Clover doesn't have a bank. Clover doesn't run a bank, so I tell it to deposit it in my business bank account. If someone out there hopped onto Clover because I was careless with my password and said, "I want you to route this to the First National Bank of Lagos, Nigeria," Clover's going to be, "Sir, yes, sir," and it ain't their problem. And I bet you, and I'm positive that Wells Fargo or whoever his merchant bank is, I don't know who it is, probably has that same attitude.
Okay, that's upsetting. But anyway,
$128,000. You have two defendants, the baby daddy and the baby mama.
So I think she gets probation because she immediately cooperated and said, "Look, it wasn't me. I opened it. I opened it for him." She sent him his way, and I think that he probably has a criminal. If he didn't have a criminal record, I'd say he got 12 months. But I bet you he has a criminal record. And he's done this before, and I'm gonna say 24 months. Although, here's the thing. Like, if it's off the chart, like, I knew a guy that for like 80 grand got like 15 years.
Yeah.
And because he was off the chart. You've been doing this your whole life. So
let's say for the sake of this exercise that both of them have a criminal history, pushing them into criminal history category 2.
Okay, then I would say she gets 24 months and he gets 48 months.
Is that your final answer?
You just gave me
because I don't know what their criminal histories are.
Right.
But I do know what their sentences are, and I'm going to assume that somebody who pulls off a scam like this it didn't just fall off a turnip truck.
Right.
These are Chicago people.
Right.
These are my people.
Okay. We're assuming they're in criminal history category 2.
Right, which means they have a criminal history. He's not a serial killer, but he's got some convictions. He's done some. Maybe it was shoplifting. Maybe it was
so
jaywalking.
If they're in 2, then I'd say she's getting 12 months and he's getting, if it's 2, I'd say 12 months and 24 months.
You've been a real moving target on this one, Matt Cox.
Well, I mean, you said criminal history 2.
I don't know what their criminal histories are. I don't always have this information. I also don't know their zodiac signs. You need to make an educated guess based on this.
My guess is 12 and 36.
And my educated guess is that someone who pulls off a scam like this has probably done something bad in the past, and these guys aren't geniuses, and they've probably been caught.
12 and 36.
12 and 36.
Yes.
All right. Amber got 2 years in prison, 24 months.
Fuck.
Okay. Jacob, the brains behind the operation, the man who orchestrated a business email compromise that cost the North Pole restaurant $128,000, got 43 months. So you got Jacob, you missed Amber.
Damn.
And at one point you had said 24 months for Amber, which was right on the money, and then you talked yourself out of it.
Well, because, women tend to get less time.
They do. They do. They do. They have all the benefits. It really is a woman's world.
There's good side system there. 12 comments.
Yeah. All right, we're talking credit card fraud. Let's stay on the topic for a little bit.
When you're buried in credit card and loan debt, it's human nature to put it off and say, I'll deal with this later. If that's you, here's a hidden fact that the debt strategy experts at Done With Debt shared with me. They discovered a little-known strategy that works in your favor to dramatically reduce or even erase your debt altogether. They aggressively engage everyone you owe money to this fall, and here's why. They know which lenders and credit card companies are doing year-end accounting and need to cut deals. They even know which ones have year-end audits and need to get your debt off their books. That means you need to get started with Done With Debt now, this fall. Done With Debt accomplishes this without bankruptcy or new loans. In fact, most clients end up with more money in their pocket the first month. Get started now while you still have time. Go to donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their specialists for free. Visit donewithdebt.com. Once again, that's donewithdebt.com.
Stories involving credit cards, at least. And it's remiss if I don't do one church story every episode. I feel like I've been pretty consistent with disparaging religious people. At least one.
Horrible.
I'm not even saying bad things about religion or religious people, but this story happens to take place in a church environment. What do you know about Fort Wayne, Indiana?
Nothing.
Really?
No, nothing.
I know 2 facts about Fort Wayne, Indiana.
There's a military base, right?
That may be true. It's not one of the 2 facts I know. But anytime you meet someone from Fort Wayne, Indiana, you can endear yourself to them by knowing these 2 facts. Okay? And people from Fort Wayne, Indiana, delightful. Okay? It's worth your time to pull out these 2 facts. First thing, you say, Fort Wayne, that's the location of Indiana's largest indoor mall, isn't it? And they go, well, yeah, you know that?
So of course, everybody knows that.
And the other thing you could say, Fort Wayne, that's the burial site of Johnny Appleseed.
Why do you know this?
Because when I was in my 20s, I knew a guy from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he used to say those 2 things all the time. Yeah, I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, home of Indiana's largest indoor mall and the burial site of Johnny Appleseed. And it stuck in my brain. And so when I started meeting people from Fort Wayne, I began bringing those things up, and they're immediately they fall in love with me. They're it's an automatic rapport builder. I didn't even know Johnny Appleseed was a real guy.
This, by the way, I feel like this is very similar to your going up to the counter and telling the clerk at the counter for the
hotel?
The hotel.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are so underappreciated. Appreciated. You know, it's the whole.
I'm going to do that in 3 hours when I check into the Hard Rock.
Listen, the manipulation.
It's not manipulation, baby. It's ABC. Always be charming.
Okay, come
Always
on.
be charming. If you have the ability to brighten someone's day versus not brighten someone's day, Matt Cox, as a con man, you should know you should brighten their day.
Of
right?
course.
Right? Because good things happen when people like you.
Yes,
That's
they
the
do.
confidence in con man. Why am I telling you this?
Okay, come on.
First Presbyterian Church of Fort Wayne, Indiana, was founded in 1831 when Fort Wayne was still a frontier town, and it remains a thriving congregation to this day. Kind of amazing. Almost,
It's wonderful, really.
yeah.
It's wonderful.
So since 2015, the church employed 37-year-old Michelle Berkscoter. We'll call her Michelle. She was the financial manager of this thriving church. She was keeping an eye on the money of the church. Right?
Yeah.
They passed the basket. Michelle needs to make sure that money is accounted for and deployed in a way that's going to keep this ancient church
Thriving.
She's
She's got to be trustworthy.
Right.
Thank God.
She has a dirty secret, though, Matt
Oh
Cox.
my gosh.
All right, this is going to be shocking to you. She had a crippling amount of credit card debt.
Home shopping network.
And she felt,
Amazon. A lot of Amazon packages.
yeah. No, I mean, again, it happens to people.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 22, I had myself some credit card debt. It's no fun, and it really feels like a hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
I love getting that little ding on my shopper account, and I get to run in. I open up the door, and there's a little package there. I love it.
It's
a great feeling.
intoxicating.
It is wonderful.
It's intoxicating. And I don't know what Michelle was spending the money on or how she got herself in credit card debt, but I know it created a tremendous amount of pressure. And she felt, probably correctly, that the only way she's going to dig herself out of this credit card debt is to begin stealing from her employer.
God. God would want her to have, Jesus would want her to have that money.
I don't even know how she rationalized this theologically, but I know that that she began using the church's bank account, which she had control over, to pay down her credit card debt, little by little.
What would Jesus do?
1,000 here, 1,000 there. She's paying down the debt. She's going to be getting this albatross off her shoulders. After 2 years of chipping away at the debt, she's finally clear of credit card debt. It's done. And she had taken $400,000 of the church's money through direct payments to her credit card account from the church's bank account electronically.
Oh, that's bad. It's a bad idea. That leaves electronic footprint.
Yeah.
I was thinking cash, pocket the cash.
No, that would be too easy. No, this is done electronically. Yeah, you're right. Digital footprint there. I think that I wonder what the pie chart is at a church, a normal Presbyterian church in a perfectly reasonable town, between cash in the collection plate versus checks from the congregation.
Or credit cards. A lot of people just
credit
do the
card.
auto
Yeah.
credit now.
It just depends what year it is, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
QR code. Yeah.
At the church I go to now, they don't even pass around the bucket.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just have an envelope you can drop. Do they have the drop
They just
envelope?
say, I think they have something by the door.
Yeah, they
But there's
do
a
have one of
QR.
those.
There's a QR code on the back of the C's
Yeah.
and on the
Yeah.
monitors.
They do ours. They do a little push.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little push.
I'm sort of surprised Colby's church is not pushing. I can't imagine.
No, my guys are all on the push.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most churches I've been to, they do have you do the song service and then you have someone come up and take the offering. But
Yeah.
not this one.
Listen, and the church we go to, which is it's church in Wesley Chapel. It's funny because the which I know he thinks it's wonderful. So with like the head guy, he'll
Pastor?
do the pastor. Yeah, he'll do I grew up Catholic, so I always want to say priest.
Yeah.
Or preacher,
Minister.
Or, yeah. So he does these videos where he's like, we're here in Jerusalem, and then the next time you go 2 months later, he's here at such and such. He's here. By the third time, I like lean into Jess, and I'm like, I feel like we're donating this guy's vacation,
Funding his,
funding a great life for this guy.
Yeah.
And he's always here for the congregation. I want you to know we're here doing good work. We're doing God's work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we're tracking Jesus' path through.
Yeah. I don't know if Michelle was stealing cash.
Okay.
It's entirely possible, but it's clearly not enough. But the pastor, once he called the FBI, was able to, in the FBI, were able to quantify $400,000 that she had stolen through electronic transfers from the bank account of the church to pay down her credit card.
Right.
That's all I got. If she was stealing money and buying pizza with it, I have no idea, and I'm certainly not going to accuse her of that on a popular true crime podcast.
I'm going to go with 30 months. No criminal
Maybe
history.
we're not
30
there
months.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I'm going with my gut from now on.
Here's an interesting little side thing, the church had employee dishonesty insurance. You ever heard of this?
I mean, I've heard of errors and omissions.
Similar.
Yeah.
I mean, or these are called fidelity loss insurance, but it's specifically,
It covers this specific thing.
It's there to cover
errors and omissions does too. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's there again. So I just did an investigation for a doctor who got ripped off, and my investigative report went to the insurance company because he had employee dishonesty insurance, and they paid off. And
Nice.
so it's nice because my fee helped him recover a lot of money that was stolen, and his net loss was basically, I guess, just my fee or whatever what do you call that? The amount you have to pay in an insurance claim, the deductible.
Deductible, yeah.
So the employee
shameless plug for Tom Simon and
SimonInvestigations.com?
Simon Investigations. SimonInvestigation.com.
If you get ripped off in a fraud, you can contact SimonInvestigations.com for a free consultation. So employee dishonesty insurance covers $250,000 of the loss.
Right.
The loss to the church, then the net loss would be $150,000.
Doesn't sound like they missed it anyway. You've been doing this for 2 years.
Business is booming.
Doesn't sound like they even missed the 200,000.
The Presbyterians support their church quite nicely.
And now it's down to 150.
Mm-hmm.
It's hardly worth calling anybody.
Right. So the FBI talks to her, rolls right over, pleads guilty. What do you think? How much time is she going to do?
I'm going to go with...
And does the fidelity loss insurance
That's irrelevant.
Irrelevant?
It's irrelevant.
Tell me why.
Because she still owes the money.
Right.
She's told him it's still part of her restitution. It's still going to be her the loss is still $400,000. Doesn't matter who paid it.
And so your analysis is correct because the restitution ends up having two line items. She owes $150,000 in restitution to the church, and she owes $250,000 in restitution to the insurance company that insured the loss.
Yeah, still not over 5 victims. Boy, but I'll bet you a U.S. attorney would go in and say that she every single person that put money into that the church as a victim, and we're going to hit her with 250 victims. Oh, they're horrible. Okay, so anyway. So she's got less than 5 victims. She's got, they're going to hit her with sophisticated means and a few other things. But yeah, I mean, I still feel like she got no criminal. I still feel like 30 months.
She did this for 2 years.
Oh, you
for
know what?
$400,000.
You know what the enhancement would be though, too?
Tell me.
A charitable institution. They might hit her with, how they give you, like if you steal from the government or a charitable institution, they'll hit you with that. I got that.
You did?
Yeah, I got hit with charitable.
What was your charity?
I didn't even steal from them. I used their name in furtherance of my crime. I had I told people I had an ID that said I worked for the Salvation Army, and I was taking surveys for the Salvation Army.
This is how you gathered the information from the bums?
Yes, from the homeless people, and I would give them $20. So it's like I'm giving them money. Yeah. I'm helping them.
You are the charity.
But the judge said, I feel like you disparaged their name. He doesn't say anything about disparage their name in the thing. It says if I used a charitable institution to take money from people, that's the example they give, and he disagreed.
I'm torn on this issue because I like you personally, but I found what you did beyond the pale.
I feel bad. I told him I feel bad.
All right, well, good. Well, then that's fine. That's
cried and everything.
That's worth a couple months.
So okay, I feel like 30 months. I feel like it's obviously worse than that, but I'm going to say 30 months because that's my gut, and I don't think she has a criminal history. And even though I think there's an enhancement there, maybe 30 months. That seems fair to me. 30 months. I keep going off of fair. That's just bad.
The irony is that had she just declared bankruptcy, her credit card debt would be wiped out. Yet you cannot declare bankruptcy, as you've learned, to wipe out criminal restitution.
Yes.
So that's a debt that will hang over her head forever.
Right.
After she gets done serving her 30 months in prison.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, 27 months, but you're still in the ballpark.
I'm still good.
27 months, Yeah, 27 months. Yeah,
I was
27,
pretty pumped there.
27 months in prison. Good job.
2 for 4.
Nice.
Good job. You have any experience with the U.S. Postal Inspection Service?
I've met some guys that were investigated by the U.S. Postal Service.
They're a shockingly good agency. It's a weird agency because it has a weird name.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when you go and you have to say, the mailman arrested me. And they're like, no, I had a gun and everything. I'm just like, come on, that's not a real thing.
I got to say, I worked joint cases with many different federal agencies when I was an FBI agent, and I found the U.S. Postal Inspection Service to be the most professional and talented among them, other than the FBI.
Yeah, I didn't have that experience. Listen, you know who was the most talented and who was very, very professional?
Who?
Secret Service.
Yeah.
They were very professional.
They're solid. The problem with Secret Service is that they have, from a law enforcement perspective, when I would partner up a Secret Service, they would work very hard and do a very good job, and then they would be called away for 2-3 months to walk Chelsea Clinton to school.
Right.
And their protective detail, they keep getting called away from
There's
cases.
not a lot of them.
Yeah, I think there's only 2,000 agents in the entire agency as opposed to 12,000 FBI agents.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, mail fraud is their thing, but they also kind of do the internal policing of U.S. Postal employees, like mailmen,
Yeah.
right? 34-year-old, I can't believe this is his name, Rashad Stolden.
Nice.
That was his guy's name.
Stolden.
His last name was Stolden, was a mail carrier out of the Bicentennial Post Office in Los Angeles' Fairfax district. And he had really good instincts for what the content of the mail was that he was delivering. He could, almost like he had x-ray vision, he could tell if he was delivering someone a check or their EBT card. You know what EBT? Like the old days, they would send you a welfare check. Now they give you like a debit card that you can swipe to use the money preloaded on that debit card for your welfare payments or food stamps or whatever, basically. But he knew what the envelopes were when he was delivering them to the presumably poor people in his neighborhood there. And what he was doing, it's going to shock you, Matt Cox. He was taking that shit and putting it in his pocket.
Okay.
Maybe you saw that coming?
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had this magical spiritual force to see what was in these envelopes by just feeling them. And once he had the check or card, he would then create fake IDs, probably more for the checks than the cards, but sometimes people make a show ID, to draw upon the money in that. And he recruited friends, people out there who would be the faces on the fake IDs, to then negotiate, meaning cash or deposit into their accounts, these checks in exchange for a little bit of money, right? So he's stealing the EBT card, but then he's kind of enlisting a bunch of dwarves and elves in his community to be the money mules to negotiate these stolen checks. Over a 4-year period, he was able to steal $1.6 million in other people's welfare and food stamp benefits, the EBT cards, and stolen checks. And he used a lot of that money to take luxury vacations.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
That's all. Is that what you got?
Well, no, buddy. We're just getting started. So the U.S. Every now and then I pause to allow the host of the show to kind of just weigh in and react.
What I'm wondering about is
it's a style.
If he could make fake IDs, is that then what is? Did they go open bank accounts to deposit the checks, or are they putting them? It sounded to me like you were saying like they were putting it in their own accounts.
No,
or
probably
did
not.
they open up bank? You think they open up?
No,
bank
I
accounts?
think what they're probably doing is going to check retail check cashing places.
Okay.
Cash checks and yeah.
Because I'd go open a bank account and just deposit them in the bank account and then remove the money that way.
You can do that. The banks have do a little more due diligence than like the check cashing place in the corner. I don't know how my impression from reading the court file on this is that there were a variety of means being used to monetize the stolen checks and cards.
Okay.
U.S. Postal Inspection Service begins kind of dealing like. They got enough complaints that my EBT card and my check did not arrive. The state of California is like, well, we sent that shit. And so they were almost able to figure out the route on where the point of compromise was. And so they immediately begin taking a look at Rashad Stolden, and then they begin like talking to some of the people who negotiated these checks. They were able to kind of figure out who was behind the negotiation of the checks, the little people who were receiving pennies on the dollar for doing this.
Crash test dummies is what we call them in the fraud industry.
Yeah. Well, you might be surprised to learn that many of them cooperated against Rashad Stolden.
That's not true. What about the code?
And some of them actually showed their text messages to the postal inspectors. And there was one really good one with Rashad saying, "I need you, man. I'm trying to retire." Well, I'm going to break it to you gently, Matt Cox. Rashad got his retirement wish. He was charged with fraud, pled guilty, lost his sweet, sweet job as a mail carrier, and he had an all expenses paid early retirement to federal prison. How much time do you give a Rashad Stolden?
I'm going to say 84 months. Why 84 months? I don't know. Wait a minute.
$1.6 million.
Yeah, I feel like that's too much. Really, that's too much time. I'm going to say, I'm going to go with 60 months. I'm going to go with 60 months.
Really? For over $1 million?
Yeah.
And enlisting all these people?
Yeah.
Okay.
60 months.
Yeah, you seem really secure with your 60-month guess.
I hate it when you do this.
There's just no, I mean, again, sometimes you waver, but there's no wavering here.
No, I feel good.
Extra illusion, is it not? Can you see it?
No, I can't see it. I don't know where you're.
Okay, I'm just curious. You're really, really good at this. But you're sticking with 60?
I'm.
You're playing poker. It looks like you just looked at your poker cards and you're like calling a bluff.
I'm gonna say
Because I think you got 7-2 unsuited down there.
Let me think.
I'm not calling you off, but I just want to make sure. I want you to be comfortable with your guess. 60 may be an excellent guess.
I think 60 is. Maybe. If I was to say anything, I'd say higher than 60. But let's say 60.
How much higher than 60?
I mean, I would say I would jump to probably 84, between 60 and 84. But let's say 60. I'm not gonna. You're not gonna.
It's the devil in the deep blue sea.
No, it's manipulation. You're making me feel uncomfortable about it. I'm gonna say 60. I don't even care if I lose. I'm saying 60. My gut was 84 though.
Yeah,
My gut was 84.
Remember that SAT test, your first instinct. But I'm not telling you what to do.
But I'm also thinking, did you know that federal employees, like male people, like they can have felonies? A lot of employees in the federal government, like they don't. Yeah. So he could have a criminal history.
Right. He
could work for. I wonder if they'd hire you as a mailman. But anyway, so
that seems like a real position of trust.
And it does. And he, I don't know how many people he was in charge of. So it's definitely, they're going to say sophisticated means. They're going to say. I still feel like 1 point. I'm going to go 84 months.
You're going to go with 84 months
84
now?
months.
God, you were so comfortable at 60, though.
Listen, man. 84 was my gut reaction. My.
It was. That was your first guess. And then you went to 60. You kind of talked yourself into 60. And then you were so secure at 60. It was like you were not going to budge off of 60 for all the tea in China.
You're probably very, very good at getting people to confess, weren't you?
I am very good at that.
Okay, 84.
84 months?
84 months.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
We are beating this dead horse.
84 months.
84 months. The correct answer? 66 months.
Motherfucker.
Oh, my God. You are a mark.
How close am I? I was close enough. I still think I'm probably close. So 84.
Oh, no, you're not even close. Well, no.
You said it's got to be 20.
20%. What? Plus 12.
It's 13 plus 66 is 79.
1.2. 66 times 1.2 is the math equation.
Okay. 66 times 1.2 is 79.2.
Just missed it, buddy.
Some bullshit, man. This is some bullshit.
Tom's playing poker over here. He's pulling his cards
Poker?
back.
I'm playing 3D chess.
So,
It's good. Hey, Tom, just we want it close. We want it to be, 5 out of 10.
Where am I at?
6 out of 12. So you know how to play the cards to make people wait to the very end.
Where am I at?
So
I don't like this.
You are 2. You are 2 out of 5. So you were 50%.
Sucks.
Now you're 40%. So
Okay.
The thing is, you were there when you guessed 60. You were right there. You were
Just
right
turning
there. Oh, God, you talk yourself out of it.
didn't talk myself out of it. You talked me out of
I
it.
didn't. You could have picked anything you want. You have free will. Were you a magazine reader back in the magazine era? Would you like pick up a magazine and read a magazine?
No, but I wasn't in prison. I was a magazine.
Yeah, like were magazines like a popular medium to kind of like read whatever interesting stories and things like that?
because they because they had like true crime stories and stuff, and these guys are rapper. They want to be rappers. They're reading.
What were the hot magazines in prison?
Yeah, like it's funny too because this is when they had the actual magazine.
Yeah.
Still, they were phasing them out. But Rolling Stone, GQ, Wired, Maxim. When I first went in, and then it faded out to.
They would let you have Maxim because Maxim had sexy girls in it.
Yeah, but it wasn't. They weren't nudes. So.
Oh, right. That was the bikini.
Yeah, you
stuff.
cannot.
Interesting.
Not, they don't like that.
You ever heard of a magazine called Mother Jones?
No, I don't feel like Mother Jones. What is Mother Jones? Is it a
Mother Jones is a very popular, very left-wing leaning kind of magazine that does investigative journalism and long articles and stuff like that. A lot of the articos are involved with it was a very popular magazine. It's
Never
not
heard of it.
It's not my thing. I've never read an issue of Mother Jones. How about New Republic?
I've heard of New Republic, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of also a left-leaning, but not crazy. Mother Jones is kind of over in like the hippie territory.
Okay.
New Republic, I think, is a more thoughtful kind of political and current events magazine. Lots of long kind of opinion pieces and stuff like that. The founder of both of these magazines is a guy named Win McCormick.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you a story right now about what happened to Win McCormick. And the story I'm about to tell you is the largest single victim fraud in Oregon history.
Okay.
Win McCormick, he's a American publisher, editor, political activist, writer based in Oregon. Okay. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, born rich. He's the heir to a Midwestern banking fortune. And he has since channeled his kind of financial energy into kind of popular left-wing journalist type causes like Mother Jones Magazine, New Republic, and all that.
It's a limousine liberal.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Do you know the story?
No.
Okay.
Why? Is there a limousine in it?
Yeah, completely. It's about the limo driver. He earned his bachelor in arts and government at Harvard, a master of fine arts and creative writing at the University of Oregon. And he was so rich that he had a full-time limo driver.
Okay.
Yeah, literally a limousine.
No,
liberal.
I just said that because that's something that people say like that's these rich liberals.
Well, this is the guy who is the poster boy for that because he had a limo driver. They were contractors technically. Sergey Lebedenko was the driver, and his wife Galina Lebedenko kind of ran the limo business. But I think he was like their only client. I don't know if they were doing proms and stuff also. I guess they had a car service. They probably had multiple stuff in Portland, and they land this wealthy client, Win, back in 2007. And the company and they spent years chauffeuring him around town, pretty much anywhere he wanted to go.
Okay.
Kind of nice. I've never really had a chauffeur other than like from point A to point B to the airport and stuff like that. But
Right.
wouldn't it be nice where every time you wanted to go to a restaurant or a store, you just like called your guy, like who heat up the limo and they took care of it? Just
Uber.
But yeah, imagine that, but being able to afford going to an Uber anywhere, not having to wait for the car, not
Always
having
there.
It's always there, and you never have to look for parking, and you're not dealing with the app or whether the guy deserves, do I tip him now? Do I have to, 5 stars? You got a Sergey Lebedenko driving you, no problemo.
Mm-hmm.
No problemo. That should be the name of the limo company. So he would pay for his limousine service using his Amex card. Okay. In fact, he was using them so much and so close to a full time that the Lebedenkos had his Amex card on file, and they just had to hit it. They would just anytime they were charging him for whatever, whether it was a day rate or a trip rate or whatever the deal was at that window of time, they would just hit his Amex bill and his Amex card. He wouldn't need to provide it again and again and again or anything like that. And they got the vibe from him that he was so wealthy that he was never even really looking at his Amex bill. He wasn't paying attention to how much he was paying the Lebedenkos for these rides. Right. And somehow along the way, they figured out either through logic or conversation that he has his Amex bill on auto pay. So you and I.
He's not even reviewing the bill. It's just automatically paying.
Yeah, it's just the American Express every month just debits his bank account for the amount of money that he had spent on his Amex bill that month, and he goes on with his life. And all the credit card companies, including Amex, are kind of pushing you into a paperless thing. They're not even sending you a statement. In fact, some credit cards are making you pay to get a paper statement sent every month, and because they want you just to have it on the app. And if maybe you're a rich guy who's running a couple magazines and enjoying daddy's money, you're not even bothering to look at that. You're not downloading the app and saying like, oh, how much did I spend at Qdoba or whatever. Yeah. So Sergey and Galina.
What's Qdoba?
It's like Chipotle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a
Never heard of
Chipotle.
that.
Yeah,
Qdoba. No, they do. They have them here. I think I have seen them.
yeah, it's good.
It's got a big Q, right? And then
Yeah,
something.
enjoy Qdoba.
Okay, I'll try it. I'll check it out.
Qdoba should be a sponsor of the Matt Cox Show. Sergey and Galina, they saw an opportunity. They saw a vulnerability in Wynn's handling of the Amex, and they started running Wynn's Amex card through their point of sale system several times a day. Started out small, charges between $1,000 and $4,000, and you know what happened?
It went through. Everything was fine.
Nothing happened. Nobody noticed anything. No one called them on it.
They became emboldened.
For the month of April 2022, for example, they hit his Amex card 225 times in 1 month for $600,000.
But he's not spending even close to 600,000. So anyway, okay, yeah,
Right. They were pigs at the trough.
yeah. This is
Right.
This is pure stupidity.
The swiping of his card through their point of sale system had no relation whatsoever to the amount of rides they were.
Yeah.
they were
So
giving
it's not
this
like they're
guy.
padding the bill by 15 or 20%. This is fucking 600, 800 times.
Any sense that these charges are tethered to his reality is just out the window.
Right.
Right. The overcharging of his Amex card, think about this, continued for 17 years.
What? How do you not? I mean, that's.
And
He
when
never does a periodic audit of his stuff. I mean, nobody ever.
Somebody
catches this?
did in year
17 years.
17 of this thing. And by that point, when someone realized that there was a problem here, when his accountant or whatever sees that, they realized that Sergey and Galina had stolen $34 million from Wynn.
Wow.
Let that sink in.
Wow.
Your limo driver has made $34 million over the course of 17 years just driving you around to Whole Foods.
What does that accountant do when he's like he's triple checking this? He's like, this has got to be wrong.
All right, so
Gotta be
Sergey and Galina, how'd they spend that kind of money? You might be asking. Mm-hmm. They were living like millionaires themselves. They bought 14 homes,
People are so stupid.
7 vehicles.
Uh-huh.
They were living the life of the wealthy, all funded by Wynn's Amex card.
That's a hell of a driver.
Single largest victim fraud in Oregon history. FBI Portland office opens the case. Pretty easy case. They arrest him on fraud charges, both of them, right? I mean, she's the one in the back office. He's the one who's driving. They're co-conspirators. They plead guilty, and FBI is in the process of seizing their homes and assets with the money going to pay, toward Wynn's restitution. But you know and I know that's pennies on the dollar, right? You're
Yeah.
never going to get full value for that. Even though we have 2 defendants, they both got the same sentence. That's the clue.
Okay.
And I think we're going to assume that there's no criminal history for either of them. Astronomical amount of money, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking.
How much time do they get, Matt?
I mean, I'm thinking like the max wire fraud is 20 years.
It is. That is the max wire fraud.
Sometimes they don't like to give the max. Maybe 18 years a piece.
Yeah. Now, again, I think you're confusing 2 things. I'm not saying you're wrong. That the maximum sentence in the statute is 20 years, but
Right.
we're still dealing with the sentencing guidelines range. And that dollar amount range gets bigger and bigger and bigger and wider. So like the difference between a $2 million fraud and a $10 million fraud in the federal sentencing guidelines gives you the exact amount of time. I'm not giving you a clue here as much as I'm saying that you're getting hung up in your brain on the statutory maximum penalty, which has no relation whatsoever to the federal sentencing guidelines for fraud. We can go with 18 years. I'm not telling you not to, but I just want to make sure that you understand that factor.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 18 years still.
After your last experience with me, You're really sticking to your guns on this thing. There's no getting you off of 18 years?
No, 18 years.
All right, well, you can't say that I didn't try.
Okay. How much?
Because they both received 57 months in prison.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
It's low.
That is low. I mean, you know how many I'm ready to go right now for
Get a limo? Start driving an Uber?
No, I'm for 34 million, I'll go do 5 years right now.
You know and I know that's not true. You know and I know that all the tea in China isn't going to put you back inside for the amount of time that you've lost.
34 million, I could pay my restitution off.
Literally robbing Peter to pay Paul. Yeah.
Have some money left over.
It's a big one. In aggregate, that sentence does seem low.
That seems outrageously
But again,
low.
at some point, pull it up on Google. The sentencing guidelines ranges get so wide so fast, and 34 million, while it's the riches of the Orient for you and it probably falls in the same category as 100 million.
That's outrageous. So
and it's filling up. I mean, there's been frauds out there with billion-dollar losses when you take a look at like stock stuff.
Yeah, well, this guy named Ron Wilson that ran a $57 million Ponzi. Well, there was $57 million in loss. It was over $100 million Ponzi scheme. He got 19 and a half years for $57 million in loss.
Yeah.
No criminal history. Now, granted, there was hundreds of victims. So, but that's really the only thing that I see different. That's what I was basing because this guy had no criminal history. He had the only difference between that and theirs, and his ran for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
The only difference is the amount of victims, and the dollar amount is slightly. That's why it just went down slightly.
I think sometimes the judges will almost try to punish the victim by saying, listen, fine, win.
Right.
Like, these guys are bad. They stole from you for 17 years. But at some point, doesn't the victim have some culpability to keep their eye on the store?
Right.
I'm just guessing. The guidelines don't account for that, but I think it's just the reality.
Right.
Is that you probably didn't come off to the judge as a sympathetic victim. Dovetailing off of that, do you think it's easier to steal from rich people or poor people?
I mean, I don't think poor people have anything really to steal, or much to steal.
I've had a lot of poor victims.
Really, I would. I mean, for how much though? But I mean, I would say, I don't know. I would assume rich people, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly the payday's there for rich people.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you would get or focusing on.
For poor people, you need to figure out a way that they can monetize their assets. I had a lot of cases, especially in Hawaii, where it was invest in this Ponzi scheme. Well, I don't have any money. Go out and get a home equity line of credit on your home and use that to, maybe that home's been in their house for generations and stuff like that. I was thinking about that thought about stealing from rich people when I thought about the story of Scott Mason. He had a company called Rubicon Wealth Management in suburban Philadelphia. And his clients were doing really well when they would invest through Rubicon. What his clients didn't know is that Scott was actually pilfering money from their investments for decades.
Is this a true Ponzi scheme, or is he actually investing the money?
I think some people needed their money back at some point, and he would
use new investor
money.
And
I do think some investors were. I think some money was actually being invested, but he's taking it off the top. That's my impression of how this one worked. And basically, he's wire transferring client money into accounts he controls, but not all of the client money, but a good bit of it. But his clients, he was very clear. He only wanted high net worth individuals.
Right.
The Matt Coxes and the Tom Simons of the world, Scott would not allow us to park his car.
Okay.
Right. He wanted high net worth individuals, and he ran in their circles. Right. He's going to their kids' weddings. He's part of the same country club. He's swinging a golf club with these guys on Saturday. Those were his people, and they considered him family. And as a result, I think a lot of them took their eye off the ball. Over an 8-year period, Scott was able to successfully skim from their investments $17 million.
Okay.
Right, but this is spread over about 13 clients. Okay, you got the numbers in your head? And he used that money for exotic foreign vacations, country club membership dues, That's his crew. And an investment he made where he purchased a miniature golf course on the Jersey Shore. Had to be just like a license to print money, a miniature golf course on the Jersey Shore. One client started taking a look at their books, and it just didn't make sense. They should have been making more money. The balance in their account should have been more than it was. And so he started stealing money from another client to pay that guy back. Oh, there was an accounting error. I'm so sorry. And but that triggered this domino effect and eventual discovery of the fraud.
Okay.
And so the clients notified the Securities and Exchange Commission, who regulates investment professionals. A lot of people think the Securities and Exchange Commission has the ability to arrest people and put them in prison, but that's not true.
Right.
I worked many cases with the SEC. They're very, very talented attorneys and investigators, but they have no criminal authority whatsoever. They're a regulatory agency. The most they'll ever do for you is to maybe fine you, take away your license, and tell you under no circumstances should you steal money from people again.
Right.
Which is kind of a toothless agency for as much talent as they are.
But and then they'll take their findings and hand it to the FBI.
And I loved those cases, Matt Cox, because basically they did all the work. They handed it to me, and all I needed to do was re-interview the people, the victims. And so,
we've had a couple of SEC where during the investigation, an FBI agent would actually sit in on the depositions and stuff.
It's interesting because they're a regulatory and civil agency. They never want to call it a joint investigation with the FBI. They call them parallel investigations. Even though, like, I'm sitting shoulder to shoulder with them, I'm talking to them every day. We're sharing evidence with each other. They can't do a joint investigation because they're not a criminal investigative agency. Hey, we're doing our thing. We're doing our civil investigation. You're doing your criminal one at the next cubicle. And it's funny the way they acted. But the semantics was always very important to the SEC. Another thing about old Scott, and you'll be shocked to learn this, he was not paying taxes on the money he stole. So they looped in a third agency in addition to the FBI and the SEC, and that would be?
The IRS.
Bingo. So the IRS joined the party as well. Scott was charged with fraud and tax evasion. He's also being sued by the clients he decimated. Scott's 66 years old right now. Weird twist to the story. Scott had a father named Melvin. In 1976, Melvin went to prison for an identical scheme. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And then here we are 50-something years later, and his son is going to prison for doing the exact scheme. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Matt Cox.
No.
Yeah. Given that reality, and the $17 million loss, 13 very wealthy victims. Assuming he has no criminal history other than what was handed down to him genetically from his thieving father. How much time is Scott Mason going to get in prison? How much time was he sentenced to? Again, also remember he's 66 years old. So if that number gets big, he may never see the light of day again. I don't know if the judges think about that in the sentencing or not.
I was bouncing between 10 and 12 years. Let's say 12 years because a bunch of victims get up and go to the stand and cry, and he took my life savings.
He was family. He used to golf with me. He went to my daughter's wedding,
yeah,
Matt Cox.
Yeah. And of course, there's more than 5. What is it? 5? What does it jump from 5 to 20 victims or 5 to 10 victims? Anyway,
I don't remember. Yeah.
So he's sophisticated means. He's got all this stuff. So I'm gonna say 12. I'm gonna say 10 years. He didn't go to trial. He pled guilty. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So
he pled guilty.
Okay. So let's say 10 years.
10 years is 120 months for
Yes.
those of you who like months.
120 months.
Final answer?
Yes.
Okay. To move this thing along, I'm not going to.
You could move me off the 120. He already knows. I could have a subtle 3-minute conversation to have you say 25 years.
This is like PlayStation. I can hit the button up or I can hit the button down to move you in your very manipulative your brain. But I'm going to let you stick with 120 months because the correct answer is 97 months in prison.
Okay.
And I think you're about the no.
0.8.
No, it'd be 97 times 1.2. I think you just missed it.
97 times 1.2 is
I think you just missed it.
116 months.
That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
Just missed it. Have you ever received a notification from your bank that you've been scammed? Or that someone's using your credit card or has dipped into your bank account?
I mean, from my bank. No, but I get the ones. But I get the ones from. I get the ones everybody else gets, where it's kind of like Google, like someone's used your password. Stop. I'm
like
not
like a
clicking on
phishing
nothing.
kind of scam. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Every now and then
But no.
I'll use my. I don't use my ATM card or my debit card much at all, other than to take out cash when I'm going gambling. My credit card all the time is getting flagged, and I'll be at like a gas station in another state, and I'll use it, and I'll get and it will like reject it, and I'll get an immediate text message saying, "Hey, someone's using your bank account in
I've had that happen,
in Phoenix. Is it you? Yeah, yes or no, and stuff like that." It's kind of interesting to me how the algorithm knows what your normal pattern of behavior is. In fact, when I travel overseas, I'll often call my credit card and say, "Hey, I'm going to Iceland next week. Can you make a notation so if I start swiping this thing in Iceland, it's not going to get rejected?"
yeah, I need this thing to be working.
That would be kind of melancholy to be trapped in Iceland with nowhere to sleep. Woman named Mabel. There's a town in Texas called Pharr, Pharr, Texas. Woman named Mabel. I'm going to assume she's an older lady. I don't have a whole lot of demographics on her.
Is this because of the name Mabel?
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb.
If her name was Margaret, you'd feel like she's probably
or Tiffany,
Yeah.
stripper. One day she gets a call from a man who identifies himself as a representative of the U.S. Department of Justice. Mabel sits up straight, right? "Yes, sir. What can I do for you?" The man on the phone tells her that her bank account has been compromised.
Oh my God.
By scammers. And he said, "Listen, we need to withdraw the entire balance of your bank account in cash, and then to help you, and we're going to help you establish a new account that has not been compromised before you lose any money." And she's like, "Oh my God, thank you. This is terrifying. I've heard about this in the AARP newsletter. I've heard that there's people out there who can break into your bank account and steal it. Thank you so much, Department of Justice. I voted for the right party." She's a trusting soul, so she withdraws $150,000 in cash over a few days, okay, going into her bank. She was directed on the phone by the government man not to tell her bank the reason she was withdrawing the cash, so the investigation into the bad guys wouldn't be compromised, Matt Cox.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
Mabel's practically a secret agent at this point.
Yeah.
Once she has all the money, the man from the government came to her house and took the money to keep it safe. And she never heard from him again.
That's shocking.
Yeah, 150 grand, Mabel's entire life savings. She thought she was doing the right thing. She thought she was helping the government catch some scammers. And it's beginning to look like she might have been scammed herself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Mabel contacts her bank and tells the story. And the banker's like, "Yeah," and calls the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Once this lands on the FBI agent's desk in Texas, he recognizes this as a fraud, of course, but he also recognizes this as part of a wave of similar crimes happening throughout Texas. It was happening again and again and again to people in Texas with pretty much the same facts. The FBI had a case open on this and begins to trace the scam back to a call center in India.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. In India, there are call centers that exist solely for the purpose of ripping off Americans. And they tie it to dozens of other cases across the nation targeting senior citizens with cumulative losses. This is just what's proven of $6 million. What's the problem? The problem is that India is kind of outside the reach of the FBI. It's not like me as a former FBI agent could hop on a plane to New Delhi, go to the address, knock on the doors, and start putting people in handcuffs. I have no authority over there. And the government of India doesn't seem particularly interested in stopping these call centers.
Right.
Right?
Ripping off rich Americans is not a priority.
But we have this nagging problem. The government man who went to her house, the bag man, who was that, right?
Right.
And so that's what the FBI's focus was. The case agent on this began focusing on who was that person. Begins taking a look at cell phone data and cameras and stuff like that, and they identify who it is. Moinuddin Muhammad, a citizen of India living legally in Austin, Texas. And so he was arrested as part of this wire fraud conspiracy. They got him. They got the bag man. Right?
Okay. How much did this? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, no. This is you're getting ready to ask the right question, right? So they begin taking a look into Moinuddin Muhammad, talking to the victims. Here's a photo spread, which is do you see the government man here who came to your house, Ethel? And Ethel would say, "I believe number 2 is the government man who came to my house." It was Moinuddin. They're able to tag him with $900,000 in losses in money that he picked up from senior citizens in Texas. Okay. He is only keeping, looking into his bank account, 10 to 15% of the money that he collects as his fee. The rest of it's going to his bosses in India at the call center, right? So there's a lot of numbers here that I'm throwing at you, Matt Cox. But what we're talking about is we got Mabel, who's out $150,000. We got a crime wave with about $6 million in losses coming from this call center in India. Then we have Moinudin, who collects $900,000 of the money, but probably only got to keep, let's say, $100,000 of that money for himself.
That's irrelevant.
Well, he's an Indian citizen, so no matter how much time you give him, he's getting sent to India at the end of this. So restitution.
Oh, I thought he was legal. Oh, so he's not. He's legally here.
Right. He's a citizen of India living legally.
Got it.
He's either here on a visa of some kind or a lawful permanent resident in the U.S., which ain't all that permanent to be a felony. Especially under the current political.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
That is a lot. How many victims do you know?
How many victims can we attribute to him?
Yeah.
I don't know that number, but let's say 5 or 10. You know, that
Yeah,
number.
yeah.
I mean, probably a hell of a lot more than they were able to prove up.
Yeah.
You know, because if the lady picks the black guy in the picture instead of Moinudin, in the photo spread, that case isn't connected. You can't tag him with that victim. But they're pretty solid on the amount of money he got.
Yeah.
And they're pretty solid on the amount of money he sent, and they're pretty solid on the amount of losses caused in Texas by this particular ring.
So you're saying did he get hit with the $6 million or just the $900,000?
I'm not telling you. Okay. I'm telling you that the judge had all those facts, and the judge got to decide how much to sentence this guy, knowing that after the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer has to pay for this guy's care and feeding, he's going back to India.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing to seize.
Yeah, and I was thinking, but I'm sure they're not thrilled that he was pretending to be a federal agent.
That's not a plus.
No, that's not. I wouldn't if I was.
Yeah, that's in the debit column, not the credit column.
Yeah, if I was in that would be particularly upsetting to me.
So, how much time are you going to have saddle the U.S. taxpayers with this guy's care and feeding in a federal prison before you send him back to India, Matt Cox?
78 months.
Talk to me.
No, I'm not talking to you anymore.
All right, because that makes for a really good podcast.
I think 70. I think because I think let's say somewhere between the two. $1 million to $6 million. Let's say it's whatever. I don't know. Even if it's $1 million or $6 million, if it was $1 million, I think it's a big. I think that these are vulnerable victims. I think they're elderly. They're elderly. That's why they are vulnerable victims. Yeah. I think there's more than whatever, probably 10 of them. I think he pretended to be law enforcement, which I have. I think that's probably a huge. If I was making the sentencing guidelines, that'd be a huge.
You'd be offended by that?
I would be offended by that because, I just feel like there's some kind of I hate to say this, like you're already defrauding people. Yeah. But I mean, that's really over the line.
Agreed.
Because it gives you such latitude and it puts you in such a position of power over people by saying, hey, by flashing a badge or saying I'm with it, then most people just step into line. And so I think it's extremely that there should be an extreme penalty for that. What else? I think and I think let's say because I don't know if it's 6, I don't know if it's $1 million, I don't know what they attributed to him. So let's say somewhere in the middle, 3. Yeah. Plus he's not a citizen. You're here. You came here to help rob people.
Yeah.
I just in general, I think 78 months is reasonable. It's probably if he was a U.S. citizen and a few things, it might have been a couple of 3 years, 4 years.
Does part of you feel like he's being scapegoated for this giant call center in India that will never have to face justice? And,
yeah, but I think
we caught the courier, like the drug courier in a giant cartel.
But I feel like he's working with them, and the judge knows. Even if the judge says,
"How about this?" I'm not convinced that he was the guy on the phone. They never proved that.
Oh, so they're just what?
He's the courier. He's the guy who shows up. They have a call center in India who's dealing with the people. Right?
That's the way his lawyer's going to pitch it.
I think it's true.
All he was is he went there and he didn't this. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, he probably gets 2 years or 3 years.
I'm not trying to influence you, but I'm saying that there's a call center in India for a reason. The people who are calling the victims, have to be the people in the call center, right? Otherwise, why is Moinuddin sharing a penny of this with his paymasters back in India if he's doing all the work?
Yeah.
I think that he is a courier in this case, and I think the government couldn't prove otherwise.
Listen, I'm sticking with 7 to 8 months.
Really?
I'm going to stick with 7 to 8
It
months.
sounds like you're hell-bent for leather on that 78.
I just don't believe you anymore. I'm just not working with
This
you anymore.
low-level courier, you're going to send him to prison for that long.
I don't think he's a low-level carrier. I think he knew better.
You think he's the mastermind?
No, I don't
behind
think
this
he's the
thing?
mastermind, but I think he knew what was going on. I think these were elderly
Well,
victims.
he clearly presented himself as the man from the government when he went to Mabel's house.
I have no sympathy for people that come to this country to rip people off,
I'm not asking you
especially
to have sympathy for him.
elderly, vulnerable victims.
I just want you to consider every factor before you make your foolish or brilliant guess.
I don't care if I lose 78 months.
78 months. Well, Colby's going to have to pull out his calculator because the correct answer is 96 months.
96
what's
times 0.8.
I was going to go lower too. You had me convinced
96
to go.
times 0.8 is 76.
So you got it. What was your,
Point.
Mine was 78.
yeah, you got it. You're,
Oh,
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I thought you said 76.
No, I said 78 months.
Yeah.
I want to let you know how much mercy I showed you because I could have gotten you down to 24 months like that.
couldn't have.
I could have. I so could have when you were there, and I thought, oh, this is just cruel and unusual punishment.
I did say if he's like a U.S. citizen, I said, and there weren't vulnerable victims, it would be like 24 months.
Right. Okay.
or
So
three
we've been doing a lot of fraud cases. Let's get dirty.
Okay.
Let's get into some non-fraud cases for the last few stories that we're going to do. I think the last 4 or 5, and let's start with the national security world.
Okay.
Here is a fun fact for you: that our main adversaries when it comes to foreign counterintelligence in China, in people spying on the U.S., China and Russia. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Yeah. Russia, and they both have massive budgets for their intelligence services. Russia has a lot of money that they throw at people to get them to betray their country in the U.S. China, it is known to the FBI, who monitors and investigates these things, are notorious cheapskates. It is staggering to me, talking to the Chinese and Russian foreign counterintelligence squads at the FBI, how much one can make by betraying your country to Russia versus how little you make betraying your country to China. It's just interesting culturally.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would think that I would think that China has more money than Russia.
I think they both have a sizable percentage of their budget for foreign counterintelligence there. They just decide, whether they pay the U.S. traders a lot or a little. Just two different approaches. They came up through two different worlds. The mission of the U.S. State Department, how would you describe that?
The State Department and the State Department is supposed to I don't know what the State Department does. I know they issue passports.
That's sort of their domestic role. Yeah,
Right.
Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State.
Okay, so what
He's the head of the State
he's
Department.
negotiating with other countries. He's looking out for the interests of the United States.
Yeah, their stated
vague.
mission is to advance America's national security, economic prosperity, and democratic values by conducting diplomacy. They're the diplomats, okay, and by fostering international cooperation. But what the State Department did not know is that there was a spy in their midst, a traitor.
Okay.
Okay, his name was Mark Schena, Schena. He lived in Alexandria, Virginia, where I lived in the 1980s. And one day, out of the blue, he was contacted on social media by a Chinese woman who claimed to be a consultant for an international consulting agency who wanted to pick his brain about a few things. She said she would pay him for his time. That's one of the things when I left the FBI that I was specifically warned about. And one of the things when we have our kind of operational security training that we have to attend they say, at some point you will be contacted probably by somebody on LinkedIn or some other social network who claims to be a consultant from China in a business who just wants to pick your brain or have you write a white paper and they're going to offer you a little bit of money. Don't do it.
Okay.
This is the way they operate.
Yeah.
They do this a lot to current and former government employees to try to kind of begin
I was
reeling
gonna say,
them
get a
in.
hook
Reeling
and
them
then
in.
a little. You give a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. Before you know it, you're hip deep, and it's bad and it looks bad. You start to realize like, oh my gosh, I've been dealing with these guys for 2 years, and
Exactly.
in its entirety, it looks like I'm committing.
Now, Mike is no fool, right? He attended the same training that I attended. And he recognizes this immediately as a sophisticated attempt by the People's Republic of China to leverage him as a confidential source of classified information. He sees right through it. But you know what he does? He jumps in with both feet. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah. He agrees and begins providing his Chinese contacts with sensitive U.S. government documents in exchange for money. Not much money.
I was gonna say, how much money?
We're going to get there. After 2 years of betraying his oath of office, the Chinese ask Mike to travel to Peru. He goes to Peru and he meets his Chinese handlers in a hotel room in Peru. And they provide him with $10,000 cash.
Are you fucking serious?
I am effing serious. And they also give him a secure cell phone. And they want him to go, and they tell him very specific documents that he has access to. And they want him to take pictures of those documents with his secure cell phone in the secure facility at the U.S. Department of State in D.C., and then text those documents to his Chinese handlers. Okay. And so he gets in, he goes back to the office. He's following orders. He photographs 4 different secret classified national defense documents using that cell phone he was given by the Chinese while in Peru. But by this point, the FBI was onto him. Because what happens is that the U.S. intelligence agencies, let's say the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI, for the most part, are trying to keep tabs on the Chinese bad guys or Chinese intelligence service around the world. And they immediately begin seeing that Chinese intelligence is in touch with a State Department employee. And so they were on him even in Peru to what was happening here. But they can't really arrest him in Peru. And at this point, he'd accepted the money. He had provided some documents before that weren't all that interesting, but the documents that he was supposed to provide with the cell phone pictures were a big deal. I don't know what the contents are, but they were a big deal to the U.S. government, top secret stuff. And so he's taken the pictures with the cell phone, and presumably by this point, and again, because I've been part of some investigations like this, they probably had a camera above his cubicle at the State Department or in his office at this point, and they were watching his every move. Because that's how we roll. And as soon as he takes those pictures with a cell phone, but before he could send it, they swoop in and arrest him.
I was going to say, hopefully before he can send them.
Yeah, and that's the idea, is right? They want to contain this thing. Mike has to face an FBI interrogation. Gives it up. I mean, in nowhere to go. And he tells the story about what he had done, sharing everything he knew about his Chinese handlers. He was charged with conspiracy to collect and transmit national defense information. That's the crime. You and I have discussed in the past on previous episodes that the U.S. government does not want to take cases like this to trial. One, it's a little embarrassing, although I think there's people out there, myself included, who think that every now and then a public hanging of one of these people is not a bad thing to send a message to the ones who haven't been caught, that there's repercussions. But mostly they don't want it because then the secret documents themselves become part of the official record. And they either need to be declassified or the jury needs to be sequestered. The judge needs to have a background check on them. And it's just a very sensitive issue because criminal courts, by definition, should be open to the public and have complete transparency. But we're dealing with a crime involving sensitive national security information that we don't want out there in the public eye.
Right.
Right. So the government often cuts these guys favorable deals. And that's my question to you is, with that knowledge, how much time does a judge give Mike?
I feel like everything you say is geared towards getting
I
me to
believe
say
you
the
are
wrong
paranoid.
answer.
Yeah.
I am going.
And these don't fit through an easy fraud meat grinder where you take the dollar amount and you cycle it through. So you have to actually truly take a look at what's in the interest of justice here.
Do you see the pendulum? He said the interest he had he said he had me completely on they don't want to prosecute these. They tend to get very favorable deals. There's all these reasons why they don't want to take it to trial. And the favorable deal thing means low, right? That's what I'm thinking, low. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I was like, okay, I'm feeling good about this, he shifts it the other way to in the whatever of justice, you know, the interest of justice. And it's like,
Hey, big boy, this
that
is
switched right back to
This is
a harsh sentence.
The game within the game.
Well, I guess that depends on how you look at it, right? Like, it should be a just sentence, which should be fair.
Hey, big boy, this is what the judge has to deal with every time he meets out a sentence and something
Oh,
like this, right? He's weighing all of these things against each other. She. I'm not saying the judge is a guy.
You're the judge. We're gonna get you a judge robe for the next episode.
Yeah, there you go.
They have they have a pre-sentence report they look at. They go, well, what do you do? It is 120 months. That's I read the letters from his family. Yeah, I know those cases.
Conspiracy to collect and transmit national defense information.
Sounds like serious. You know what I mean? I wonder
Again,
how much
he
money
never got
did
a chance to hit send.
What? Yeah, how much money did they don't care?
I think the entirety of the case was hinged on the Peru documents.
Right.
The Chinese will spend a lot of time having you send stuff that they don't really give a shit about to kind of get you in the pattern
Yeah,
of providing.
yes.
And so I'm willing to bet that the documents he provided before his trip to Peru were horseshit.
Yeah.
And probably not even classified.
Okay.
They want to get you in the pattern of doing, and the money he received, if anything, was de minimis.
De minimis. I'm not positive what that means.
It has min in it, so you can figure it out.
Let me think.
Take your time, buddy. Does this offend you? Start with your moral.
I mean, it does offend me.
Okay,
Like,
good.
it does offend me that I, but my stance on, which is so funny because I'm such a scoundrel, on so many things. You know what I'm saying? And yet my opinion on the security of the United States and what's in the best interest of the United States. Listen. At the expense of every other country out here. Like, to me, it's like I'm concerned about what's good for the U.S. and the U.S. citizens.
Sure.
And I could care less about. Oh well, yeah, but what about this and what about these? I don't care about them. I don't care about them.
Well, yeah. You're a home team guy.
Yeah. So it bothers me. So I mean, to me, the fact that whatever he gave up, to me,
Violating his oath of office, is that problematic?
Yeah, yeah. All of that bothers me. So to me, it would be a harsh sentence. But I also see a lot of these things that like you think they're going to get a huge sentence, and they just don't.
He never hit send on the classified document.
I don't think I think that's completely irrelevant.
Okay, he's about to probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like the guy going in the bank, robbing the vault, running out and dropping the bag as he runs out the door. You never got all the money. I don't give a shit. That was a mistake. He would have.
Difference between murder and attempted murder? You see no difference? Yeah.
There's a little difference there, but yeah, not much.
Okay.
I want to say 5 years. I don't know why. I mean, I think he should have got more, but I want to say 5 years because I do understand that that it's a problem, or it's problematic in remember Victor Bott? Victor Bott was the Merchant of Death. The movie Lord of War.
Yeah,
like he's the guy that's kind of semi-based on.
You wrote a book with him or about him or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
that was Efrem Deveroli.
Oh, sorry, I get the guys.
Yeah,
it was Nick Cage.
The movie, but it was semi-based. It was loosely based on Victor Bott, which is a Russian. I want to say he's Russian, and they called him the Merchant of Death, right? Like he had sold.
He's an arms dealer.
Arms dealer. He eventually got caught.
Selling to like the Tutsis and the Houthis and.
No, he's selling to all sides, but no, he actually. Like he had been in all kinds of stuff had happened, but I think it was like it was like the DEA or ATF, which is funny because it was neither one of those. It wasn't like the FBI. He ended up getting it was like a sting operation in Malaysia or something, and they get him where he's literally there are indictments all over. Like we want him. He's been indicted in the United States. Yeah. He goes to this other country. He knows where he can go. Travels to like Malaysia or something. I'm probably wrong. It might have been the Philippines or someplace where we don't really have jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And he goes there, but they had a sting set up, and he doesn't realize it, of course. And he's selling them rockets, like what are the rockets that? What do they call them? Are they SAMs? The surface to air missile, selling surface to air missiles to FARC,
Okay.
which the United States has designated as a terrorist organization.
Right.
And he says they have him on tape saying they're like, you understand that these were going to be used by FARC, and he's like, yeah. And he said, listen, he said they go, they're probably going to be shooting DEA helicopters out of the sky with these things, and he goes, man, I'm no friend of the United States. I mean, he just they grab him.
Yes, that's something you want on tape.
No, they grab him and they take him out of the United States eventually, and they try him. His entire trial is behind closed doors. No camera, like it's really like it was some kind of like a military. They had national security, I mean, everything about it was, and which it's like I get it. It also seemed unfair to me.
Kind of is
because it to me it's like, okay, well, how do we know this trial's even fair?
Right.
But then I also think that there's probably a lot of things that Victor Bott did for the U.S. government that they probably just don't want out there.
I promise you, the government probably offered him a plea deal of some kind because they didn't want to try it. For all the same reasons.
He ended up getting, I want to say he got 30 years. You know who they traded him for?
Who's that?
Brittany Griner.
Really?
That's the person that they swapped him for.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. He'd done a bunch of time, though. He'd already done like 10 or some odd year, 10, maybe 15 years. He'd done a bunch of time.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that's the same thing where I'm saying you're right. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good to have these trials. So I'm going to say 5 years because I don't really know what he did, and I'm thinking, what does the State Department really have? What documents do they have?
I mean, they get a lot of national security stuff in the house.
Do they? I wasn't thinking that at all. But either way,
all right.
But then look at what's his name? What's the guy's name? Snowden.
Yeah.
Boy, smashed Snowden, didn't they?
Yeah. I did the search on Snowden's house.
Really?
Yeah. He's a Hawaii guy.
Didn't know that.
Another story for another day.
Yeah.
5 years is your guess for
yes, 5
Mike
years.
Skeena?
Yes.
Correct answer? 4 years in prison. You nailed it.
That's 4 times 1.2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that it? 4 times 1.2?
That would be it.
4 times 1.2 is 4.8.
Oh, you missed it by a couple months.
This is such bullshit.
Months.
This is such bullshit. We should be doing the calculation the opposite way.
No.
From
It's
5 years
20% of the
down.
actual answer. We made that mistake.
0.8 is what we should be using.
First time we played this game, we were 3 morons who were mathematically challenged, and then we had 100 comments. All right, moving right along.
So close.
Yeah. Yep.
I was pretty close, and I'll bet you there are people in the comments who are saying like 10 years, 20 years, and I was pretty close. I was only a year off. That seems. I feel like there needs to be a different.
When I do the
calculation
national
for that.
security stories on my Instagram feed at Simon Investigations, they the comments are all like military people, like he deserves to be hanged for treason, firing squad, into a chipper shredder.
But he wasn't in the military.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. You ever see the movie Deadpool 2?
Yes, I love that. I love the character.
Right. So there's a scene in Deadpool 2 I want to remind you of and remind your viewers. It was a kind of a small subplot, but there was a young mutant named Russell in the movie who had the power, kind of a fat, schlubby guy.
Yeah.
He had the power to generate and project fire, right? And so they sent him to a mutant re-education center, right? Kind of like what they send like gay people to like pray the gay away.
What do they call that? What do they got a name for those things?
Conversion therapy.
Oh yeah.
And so Russell lashes out against the staff, causing explosions and setting parts of this fictional school, this mutant re-education center, on fire.
Yes.
Okay. Keep that in your back of your mind, okay? Because this is a story about a 31-year-old, I'm going to get in trouble here, woman named Mackenzie McClure, who is a biological woman who identifies as a transgender man.
So confusing.
I know. I get in so much trouble when I do a story about a transgender person. But when you tell me someone is a transgender man, I have to do long division to think that means biological woman who believes he or she is a man. Then you get into what do you call him, he or she. I don't mean to offend anybody. I have no rooting interest in this thing.
Right.
I don't love trans people. I don't hate trans people. I don't pretend to understand it. It's just not my preoccupation.
Yeah.
Right? So Mackenzie calls herself or himself Calvin. But listen, we're going to be guessing Mackenzie's prison sentence at the end of this. And Mackenzie is serving her time at a women's prison, right? So in the eyes of the law, which is kind of where I'm coming from on this thing, Mackenzie's a lady, right? And I apologize to everybody who's offended by that. I'm not looking.
What was the name again? The name was
Mackenzie is the
no. That identifies as a man named
Calvin.
Calvin.
Calvin with a K.
Calvin. How'd you come up with Calvin? Of all the names, if I could pick my...
I'm telling you, man, you do not want to stick your head in this furnace. For unclear reasons, Mackenzie became fixated on Christ Presbyterian Academy in Nashville.
So many issues.
Where she attended elementary school back when she was a little girl. Okay. I'm assuming she had a bad time there. Okay. It begins with Mackenzie hanging around campus, filming herself, giving the finger to the school building. Like taking a selfie of herself with her middle finger raised in front, and like giving her finger to the school building. Not cool. Not the end of the world. Not a federal crime. But things escalated quickly. Mackenzie called the school, the academy's office, and left a voicemail threatening to commit an act of terror against the school. And she said, just like the one in Deadpool 2. She identified with that mutant who was pissed off at the re-education center in Deadpool 2 and felt that she was like that little boy Russell. Right?
Calvin has some problems.
As you can imagine, the Nashville school was freaked out, and they checked their security cameras after they get this call, and they see Mackenzie walking around campus at night, pulling doors open that are locked.
Okay.
Right? She never made it into the school.
Yeah.
The school calls the FBI. I've been on a lot of these type of calls.
No, why does that fall under FBI?
Because at this point, she is threatening to commit an act of terror against the school in the voicemail.
Okay.
And, I'm going to, I don't know if she said I'm going to burn this place down, but she's referencing Deadpool 2. School secretary, like you and I saw the movie, thought, well, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like that guy in Deadpool 2 burned down his school.
Yeah. Well, first they have to go find a fan to explain what happened. Not everybody's going to know.
Again, the FBI on these things, they're not thrilled to have to work these cases, but they can't let any. So they talk to Mackenzie, they admonish her. Mackenzie, cut the shit.
Right.
Knock it off. You're frightening people at the academy. I know you didn't have a good time in elementary school. You know who else didn't have a good time in elementary school? Everyone else. Right? Cut the shit. To her credit, Mackenzie's like, okay, I'll knock it off.
Okay.
Right. They leave it. No harm, no foul.
I feel like that's not where it ended.
No need to make a federal case. The school's weirded out by this whole thing.
Yeah.
They spend $140,000 increasing their security measures because they're so freaked out by Mackenzie. Mackenzie continues. She continues her threatening terror campaign on the social media app X. She's no longer calling the school, but she's posting tweets on Twitter, which is now known as X, evidently, threatening to do a mass casualty event at the school. She likened it to 9/11.
What the
I'm going to 9/11 the school, is what she's saying.
I don't know if you know this. I know this because my wife was in federal prison, a woman's federal prison.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, when she goes to federal prison, is going to be considered a stud.
Oh yeah, that's what they call.
Yeah, when a woman in federal I don't know if it's state, but in federal prison identifies as a man and looks a lot like a man, like Mackenzie does.
I suspect that hormone replacement therapy that she is getting to get those whiskers is going out the window in prison.
Well, it is with the big beautiful bill, but prior to that,
they would continue with it.
They would continue.
Oh, my heavens.
I had a cellie that was going through. Was a trans woman, and they were giving her, I'm going to say her, this appropriate thing,
Look at
the shots.
You lefty.
They were giving, her name was Miss, she went by Miss Smith. They were giving her the shots. And I was like, I was seeing a counselor, like the money they're spending on this dude to transform into a woman was fucking insane. But
so you had like a roommate with a rack?
Yeah. No, didn't have that surgery yet.
Okay. I mean, I would think that the hormones alone would cause the breast to swell. I don't know how that works.
It was like being in a, and this was when I was in the drug program. So you don't have it. It's not like you can buck and say, "Fuck it, send me to the hole. I'm not doing this." They'll throw you out and they'll send you to the hole. So, what was the funniest thing was It was like being in a cell with a 12-year-old girl.
Oh, just emotionally?
Oh my God, up and down, and so said this to me and it hurt my feelings, and he doesn't even think about it. He doesn't even think about how that makes me feel, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there going, how did I get myself into this?
Was she kind of nice and easy to get along with as a person? Yeah.
Nicest person you've ever met.
And to me, that's the barometer.
Right.
I will call anybody by whatever name or whatever gender they want if they're a kind and good person. It's an act of courtity. It's an act of politeness.
Right. I'm not going to be told by law to do it, but if I think this person's a nice person, this is what I don't care what you want to be called. That's fine. What this is the funniest thing was when they switched the beds, because you don't get to choose your roommate in the drug program. It's an assignment.
Yeah.
When I walked into the cell and looked over and saw Mrs. Smith, she stands up and says, "Oh my God, Cox, we're gonna be roommates. Isn't that just the greatest?" And I go, "Well, I'm not happy about it." Like that. And she went, and I walked off, and I immediately felt like, oh man, I was a dick. Like this poor little 12-year-old girl who's trapped in the body of a 6 foot tall black man.
Oh, okay.
So
she wasn't passing to the naked eye at this point as being a lady?
Had the long dreads. No. Well, no.
Okay. Just wondering. Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I feel bad for saying that.
Yeah, I get it. So let's get back to Mackenzie or Calvin. Don't want to dead name her.
Dead name her. That's what they call it. When this is so your old name is your dead name.
And it's a real insult to call someone by their dead name.
Yeah, that's their dead name. They're dead. That person's dead to them. Right. Their new person is Calvin.
But I am reporting as per the court records, and she was prosecuted and charged under the Mackenzie name.
Yes.
And so we're just sticking to the four corners of the documents here. So let me recap. We have the Deadpool 2 threat.
Yes.
We have a admonition by the FBI to knock it off.
Yes.
We have the school investing $140,000 in upgraded security measures. And then we have Mackenzie continuing threatening a 9/11 style attack against this.
Right. That's where it went.
On the Mackenzie side, I think it's probably likely that Mackenzie, given the issues that Mackenzie is dealing with, probably truly had a bad time at that elementary school back in the day and had really bad feelings about it. I don't know if that's in mitigation, but I know that the judge at Mackenzie decided to take that case to trial.
Are you serious?
And
what was the charge?
Cyberstalking.
Cyberstalking. Okay.
She was arrested on cyberstalking charges, went to trial, was tried under her given name, and the jury was instructed that the jury does not have to refer to her by any particular gender, but her legal name was Mackenzie, and that's how she was going to be tried under. It was a big issue in the trial itself, the gender thing, obviously, and kind of the cornerstone of her defense.
All right.
So found guilty at a trial, which, as you know, will generally give you a longer sentence than the plea deal that she could have taken.
Yeah.
How much time is Mackenzie going to serve in women's prison as a result of this?
I'm going to say 51 months.
51 months.
Uh-huh.
Talk to me about your thought process there, Matt Cox.
I want to say 48 months, but I got screwed the last time, so I'm going to bump it up enough so that I could cover the difference, right?
You think that's how it works?
Yeah,
that every case knows about the last case? When you flip a coin, the coin doesn't remember whether it was heads or tails last time. It's still 50-50.
51 months, because here's why, is that, she's just lashing out. She didn't actually take any acts other than going to the school, than going to school.
She played some calls, she played some tweets, she may have trespassed.
But you did scare a lot of people, and you were told not to do it. You were told, we're taking this serious. Quit fucking around. There are laws that you are breaking.
Yeah.
We're giving you a pass. Didn't take a pass, and then also said, hey, after being charged and arrested, getting a public defender most likely, sitting down, being explained the whole situation, explaining that you've terrified these people, these children, and you've caused that they're so terrified they dumped $140,000 into revamping or upping their security, and you continued. She said, no, I'm going to trial.
Yeah.
And to me, if I was a judge, I'd be like, all right, you're fucking hit, man. I'm going to smash you. But she didn't do anything. She didn't really do anything other than, so I'm going to say 51 months.
Okay. Colby, I don't normally ask this, But producer Colby, what would be your guess? You seem really invested in this story.
My guess would be 30 months exactly. And I have a laptop.
Amazing.
Right here at my desk.
It's amazing that Colby got it right. It was 30 months in women's federal prison. I forgot that you have access to information that our beloved host does not.
Yeah.
And sadly, 30 months is not
even close.
Not even close.
Lucky I wasn't on the. Lucky I wasn't the juror.
Yeah.
I mean the judge.
You a fan of Kayla Soul?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know Kayla Soul?
It sounds Spanish.
You into hip hop?
Do they play it on WQYK Country?
You're not into Kayla Soul?
No.
Interesting. There was a band called De La Soul. That was a popular hip hop group in the 90s. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying Kayla Soul.
Okay.
All right. Kayla Soul is a Washington, D.C. Hip hop star. Her real name is Kayla Hargrove. But as her rapper, she's Kayla Soul. Not a fan, though, huh?
No.
She's in some trouble.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
Do we want to play some music? We want to hear some. Am I gonna be like, oh yeah?
No, I don't.
No?
I don't think she ever really broke through that big.
Oh, okay.
But I was just curious if you were into Kayla Soul. Kayla had a boyfriend who was in jail, and the boyfriend had a $4,000 drug debt to a dude, a guy who was not out of jail. The drug dealer that her boyfriend owed money to was named Philip Anderson. And Kayla took it upon herself to make sure that her boyfriend's drug debt was settled. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You got the characters?
Yeah, she paid the drug debt.
Well, we're getting there. Before he was incarcerated, the boyfriend, Kayla's boyfriend, used to do yard work, okay, for an 83-year-old guy who was a veteran in Arlington, Virginia, named Fred.
Okay.
Okay. Kayla's in D.C., Fred's in Virginia. The boyfriend who used to do the yard work is in prison. So Kayla and Philip, the dope dealer, they put their heads together. They hatch a plan to see if they could get old man Fred to pay off the boyfriend's drug debt.
Okay.
Okay? Right. So Kayla calls old man Fred and says, "Hey, remember me? I'm your ex, the guy who used to trim your hedges. I'm the girlfriend. I came by a couple times." She said, "Yeah, come on by. I would love to." She goes, "Can I come by and see you? I'd love to see you. My family never visits me. Come by and see me."
Okay.
Right. So Kayla gets to Fred's house, and as soon as Fred opens the door, Philip and two of his homies jump out of the bushes and force their way inside. Kayla's job was done, and this is significant. She gets in her car and drives home, right? She'd gotten Fred's door open. Philip's going to do the rest. But she leaves Fred in the hands of these psychopaths,
Yeah.
right? The three men start beating the heck out of old man Fred, 83-year-old veteran, demanding cash. The poor guy's like, "I don't keep that kind of money in my house." So they grab Fred and they force him into Philip's car, and they drive him to a trap house, a drug house, across the state line into Washington, D.C., right? From Arlington, Virginia into Washington, D.C., and they tie Fred up in the trap house.
Mm-hmm.
Then they make Fred hop on his phone's bank app and transfer $7,000 into an account of someone they know. And then they grab Fred's debit card and they send one of the kidnappers out to get food at McDonald's for everybody, swiping Fred's debit card.
These guys are just rocket scientists.
So while Fred is tied up in the trap house, Philip dispatches two of the thugs to Fred's home to steal Fred's guns, which were later sold by Philip for cash.
Okay.
Okay. Old Fred is no fool. He remembered some of his military training, and he was able to untie himself and escape the trap house and run away, despite lacerations on his face from the beating he took. He had broken ribs and a fractured sternum. He limps away to safety and calls police, who loops in the FBI because this is an interstate kidnapping.
Mm-hmm.
FBI has the case. FBI catches everybody involved, every single person. The three kidnappers, I'm not going to ask you what they got, but I want you to have this as a kind of pin in your mind. The three kidnappers plead guilty and receive sentences between 17 and 20 years each.
Wow. I was thinking 30 years. You kidnap somebody, you beat them.
Yeah.
I was thinking 30 years.
But then you got Kayla to deal with, which is really where we're talking about here on the show, Matt Cox.
Right.
Right? She pleads guilty to aiding and abetting a kidnapping. She never laid a hand on Fred.
Right.
Just set him up. How much time are you going to give Kayla? Kayla Soul, the rapper, the hip-hop treasure.
Oh, the hip hop treasure. Boy, I want her to get 10 years. 84 months.
She's aiding and abetting, man. She didn't kidnap anyone. Never laid a hand on Fred. Never touched him. Never touched his sternum. Never broke his fingers.
These guys got 17 to 20.
She's just trying to pay off someone else's drug debt.
I don't care what your reason is.
You're not into the
I don't care
rational-
what your
the rationalization?
Yeah. I don't know. I'll go 61. I'll go 62 months.
62 months is your guess.
I feel like she deserves more, but
that's 5 years, 2
barely
months?
they barely gave these other guys anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. 17 to 20 years is a lot of time.
So, that's a home invasion. That's a kidnapping. You moved the person. You
Stole guns.
Stole guns. You
Yeah.
You almost beat him to death. I mean, they were going to kill him once they got everything they could get out of him. They were going to kill him. Yeah. And I bought you lunch. I bought everybody lunch with my credit card.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I'm shocked they got between 17 and 20. I was thinking 30 years. I can't believe this. It's so funny. You know what kills me is that there's just like for crimes of violence, I'm always shocked at how little people get for violent crimes. Where to me, violent crimes, I'd be brutal if it had violence. Anything to do with violence, and then you'll have a money crime, and somebody will get 15 or 20 years, and you're like, "Are you joking? These guys kidnapped someone. They beat him senseless."
Yeah.
I don't know, 62 months.
62 months? Does that be 5 years, 2 months?
Yeah, she probably cooperated and she probably got probation. Fucking jerk offs.
They all pled guilty.
Yeah, they all pled guilty, but
Yeah.
she probably cooperated. She definitely cooperated. Well, they all probably rolled over on each other. I'm going lower now. I'm going 36 months. I'm going to go 36 months.
Really? You talked yourself out of
I did. 36 months.
36 months, that's your guess, huh?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes. What is
You
it?
feeling okay about that?
Yeah, not really, but I'm going to go with it.
The sentence that Kayla got for setting up Fred for a kidnapping and a beating
I like that he said setting up.
was 6 years in prison.
Motherfucker. I was at 60. Dude, I was close. I was right there at 62 months. I was right there.
I didn't even have to talk you out of it. I just sat here and shut my trap, and you talked yourself out of it. That's how good I am.
Mine was I was at 62 months. What am I at now?
3 of 11.
Oh, this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
Do you want to wave the white flag? You can see.
Yeah, I'm not bouncing back somehow. I'm not changing math.
I think about the show rather than these contests. I mean,
we got enough.
Listen, I'm competitive.
Yeah.
I want to
okay,
win.
then you're going to need to edit out me saying there are 12 stories because there's now just 10 stories.
Well,
which-
I'll just leave this
Yeah,
in here.
people will unsubscribe if
I'll
we
just-
do 10 and you said 12.
Well, I'll just leave this in. We're filming a second episode today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 more stories. Why don't I just put them on ice until the next time I come visit
Yeah,
you?
that's what I'm saying. You just keep them.
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty long. This is a long one.
Okay, well, that's fine. It's your show. Yeah,
And we got to go eat?
Yeah.
Are we going somewhere to eat?
Yes.
Really? My God.
You know,
Am
Tom-
I paying?
I'll pay. So yeah,
Wait,
you are
wait.
paying.
I'm not gonna let Colby pay. If
Well,
someone's-
He is paying. He's paying with the
it's the YouTube money.
the company credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
right.
Well,
What are you doing for a living now?
funny you should ask. I conduct investigations for a living right now as a private investigator. While I'm licensed in Florida, I practice in all 50 states. And every time I go on your show, I end up getting calls from Matt Cox listeners and viewers who want to talk to me about an issue that they're having. And I do free consultations for anyone who mentions the Matt Cox show, and I'm happy to talk on the phone as long as possible. And quite often I steer them in the right direction, can even help solve their problems without charging them a dime. But some of them actually hire me. And my expertise is people who've been victimized in a fraud. And so There's things I can do to help try to maybe get their money back. In a worst case scenario, I can conduct an investigation and maybe even shepherd that to my former colleagues at the FBI for whatever investigation they deem appropriate, right? So I just want to throw it out there that if anyone watching the Matt Cox Show ever wants to reach out for me, you can get a hold of me on my website, simoninvestigations.com. I just really want to help, and I want to thank you for always allowing me on the show. We always have a good time together.
Do you ever get any crazies?
I get not so much crazies, but sometimes I hear from people who I just can't help them, and I'm not going to steal money from them, and I let them know that this is just sort of out of the scope of what I do. I did get someone from the Matt Cox Show who's convinced that they're hearing voices in their fillings, and I gave them your home phone number. I hope you don't mind.
Listen, every once in a while, we'll get an email from someone. We're like, oh wow, this guy. There's nothing we can do for you, buddy. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Also, we're gonna leave the Simon Investigates website and social media links in the description box. In addition to that, if you'd like to be a guest, please go to our website and go to the be a guest page or something?
The link is actually in the description. They click on the link, it'll take them right to that page.
Oh, yeah. Just click on the link and it'll take you right to the page where you need to fill out a brief application. I mean, it's nothing. It's very simple. And put up like a 3 to 5 minute video of your story just so that we can see you and see that you're presentable and you have all your teeth. So that's it. Thank you very much. See ya.
Be cool.